All right, all right. Hey, everybody. I know you all know this is usually Movie Monday, which I've already done today. But I thought being Memorial Day and I had an opportunity to bring some friends on. Y'all know Tony Speaks, Big Tony Speaks. I call him Big T. And then I got a local friend here from Springfield, Ohio. So, sorry, Tony. Go ahead.
You're
Oh,
good. You're
feedback.
good.
Okay,
Uh,
feedback's crazy.
yeah, I was
So
getting it for a second there myself.
then I have Tom here, my favorite frugal prepper from Springfield, Ohio, who has a YouTube channel called The Frugal Prepper, which I am a follower of. So, Tom, it's good to see you. I know this is your first time on here. I appreciate you coming on. We talk about everything politics and then some, and we also talk stupid shit at the same time because we are adolescents. So, I hope you enjoy that. You may not at the end of this, but it's good to have you on, brother.
Yeah.
We've been talking about hanging out for a while, and we ain't had a chance. But this is a good way to hang out if we can't like hook up at the garage or whatever. Because Tom's a car guy, and I've been wanting to bring my vehicle over, and because he's a computer guy and I'm not, I can change parts, but
Right, right.
I can't tell you what the fucking engine light's doing. That's my biggest problem. So, anyways, that's another subject, another day, which I don't mind talking on this channel because I am bringing my car content over to Rumble there, Tom. I don't think you knew that, but I've
Okay.
decided my premium because I am part of the Rumble Premium uh, partnership. I'm bringing my premium content into the car world. That's what mine's all about. I think Big Tony, yours has got horror films on it, right?
Yes, sir. Do a horror movie every week on Saturday,
Now,
and I
y'all
don't, I
just
don't,
go ahead.
I don't know what this week's horror movie is going to be yet. She hasn't. Mad Marilyn hasn't picked it out yet. Yeah, she's
Well,
actually
my
here
movie
right
today
now.
was Billy Jack. It was my first non-car
Yeah, I
movie.
saw that. Notice I
Yeah,
gave you a like on that, right?
yeah, it was my non-car movie, first one, and there's two more, I do believe, of the Billy Jack trilogy that I'll be playing. And then after that, those who just seen my theme song don't drink the Kool-Aid because I'm telling you all the time, the crazy leftists on the left, far left, they've convinced these brainwashed individuals in this country that has drank the Kool-Aid that everything they say is the truth and everything we say is a lie. So don't drink the Kool-Aid, but if you do, there's help. It's called Rumble. Just remember that. There is a cure. All you got to do is follow us and listen to our live streams, and you will be excommunicated from the craziness. Just saying. Saying that, guys, uh, I was just telling you about I think I want to talk about how Trump thought that Putin was going to be so far into wanting to have a peace agreement with Ukraine. It looks like he was just blowing smoke up President Trump's ass. What do you think, Big Tony?
Well, Putin, when he talks to Trump, he's all about peace. But now Zelensky's not having it. See, what Putin just did, shooting those rockets and whatnot, and drones, whatever, was retaliation for an attack that Zelensky did on Moscow. And so you kind of can't blame him. Dude's gonna attack him while they're doing peace talks. He got to answer back. I mean, that's my opinion.
And I kind of agree with that. And to me, this whole deal is Zelensky's the loose cannon. You can't trust what he
Right.
says because he'll say one thing and then do another. And it seems like, at least as far as what Trump's concerned, he thinks Putin's the same way right now. Uh, Tom, you got an opinion on that?
Well, I guess my whole take on the whole Ukraine Russian war is Ukraine had money for decades, and they took that money, they embezzled it, they spent it on stupid stuff, they stole it from the people. They didn't invest it in any military equipment, any tanks, any fighter jets, and now they get to pay the price for that. And honestly, I'd like to see them not be at war, but I'm tired of funneling money over that way. We
Oh,
need to cut money off
I think
and
we all agree with that. Really, we all
with the
agree with the
business.
money's got to stop.
Let
Right?
them work it out. Whether that's
Yeah,
Putin
I'm sick and tired
goes
of it.
ahead and takes them over and quits messing around with them, or whatever happens, it just needs to happen, and they need to figure it out. You know,
I agree, and I'm not a Russian fan, but I'm also not against Russia. I'm not there. To me, Russia. I find it hard, and I say this all the time. They claim they're an adversary of ours, but yet we are willing to go up in space with them as a partnership. But yet down here, uh, we want to talk shit about each other. And it's more America talking shit about Russia than Russia, because Russia's always wanted to be part of the group. I mean, Clinton fucked him over back in the '90s, making him believe he was going to be part of the United Nations, and then told him no, go get fucked. That kind of pissed him off, and he's had a sore about that ever since. And then, of course, Hillary tried to do the restart button, and that kind of went downhill. And so, Russia, to me, Putin just wants to be an equal to like us and China instead of being the outsider. But now China, from what I understand in today's story that I just saw, China is now helping Russia build the drones. So now they said they were building drones. It took 3 days to build a drone to drop these missiles. Now it's taken a few hours because of China's help, which is a game changer. Because you know what? If we do cut the money off to Ukraine, the war's only going to last a few more days, people. That's my opinion.
That's right.
So there better be
Yeah,
some
so
peace
that's
talks quick, or else Ukraine will all be Russian and not Ukrainian and Russian.
yeah, that's the thing is all the technology, and this is for Ant in the chat. All the technology that Ukraine has right now, um, the vast majority of it came from the U.S. It's during the Biden Harris administration. Um, the vast majority of it came from us. Now they did get a little from some of the other uh, NATO nations over there, but not much. It's mostly from us. We cut off their supply, which, from what I understand, the money is fixing to dry up completely 100%. I believe that they're getting ready to cut off the military support as well. However, we did just get that minerals deal.
That's what I was
If
going to
we
say.
if
It's a
we
minerals deal.
send right, if we send people over to uh, to action that minerals deal, to actually go over and start surveying to collect the minerals, of course, our military is going to go with them to protect them. So, I mean, what they will do as far as this war goes, I don't know, but uh, I know that Trump is trying his darndest to get this war ended, and I think he believes that if we are involved, if the U.S. is involved, that Putin will back off. If we're actually physically on the ground there, that he'll back off. Because I mean, he's just simply right now. Yeah, he invaded, but right now he's been every time reacting to what Zelensky's doing. I've been watching this thing pretty close. So I mean,
It, and I think, and it's my opinion on this. You know, Trump said that he talked to Putin, and Putin was also willing to do a mineral deal with him after this was all over with. Now, saying that with the current events that's happening, do does that mean that even if Russia takes over 100% of Ukraine, is that deal still going to go through? But not with Ukraine, but with Russia. Is Trump that
It
sly?
might.
Is he that sly?
It
What do you think? What do you think, Tom?
Well, I mean, he did write the book. You already say, man.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Tom, what do you think then? Tony, you go ahead.
I, the mineral deals and all that's all stuff that's going to get worked out after this war is over. You know, we have to get the war over with, and that means there either needs to be a victor or they need to declare peace. I think the logical thing that's going to happen here in the end is they're going to give some of the Ukraine to Russia, and you know they're going to negotiate it out after they've killed enough thousands of people. But that's going to take time, you know. And the quickest way to bring it to a resolution, though, is to force their hand by not giving them any more money.
Yeah, go ahead, Big Tony.
Right. Yeah. Trump has already. Well, his team. Uh, Trump's team has already told Zelensky, look, you're not getting out of this without losing territory. You're going to lose some territory. So I mean, but the thing is, here's my thing. The territory that Putin wants is territory that, although being part of Ukraine, was loyal to Russia in the first place.
Yeah, they
Let
speak
them have
Russian,
it.
right? They speak. Part of Ukraine speaks Russian, and they're
Right.
Russian loyalists. And they,
Right.
I've seen interviews with them, and they said
So I
they
mean, let them
want
have it.
Putin to rescue them, is what they said. Rescue them because they were told that if they spoke Russian, that it was going to be against the law or something. I believe. Is that right? If I'm not mistaken, Ukraine said it was against the law to speak Russian.
Yeah.
Is that kind of that okay? That'd be like us saying it's against the law to speak Spanish.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? We'd piss a lot of Americans off because now we have a lot of Americans that speak more Spanish than English. Now, do I agree with that? Not necessarily, but here we are, and this is the world we live in.
Well, I do. I on that subject. On that subject, I believe that the United States should actually officially declare a national language, an official national language. Um, but I mean, you're still going to, even with that, you're still going to have your Spanish speakers or whatever, German, whatever. Um,
What's up, Minnesota?
because I mean,
And Andy, you're right. You're 100% right on that. They're now putting women on the front line because they're running out of men. Ukraine is losing,
yeah,
everybody, even with the help of us and the EU. You know what I mean? They are losing, and they're going to lose faster now. Here from, I mean, think about this: if you can put out drones every few hours that can drop missiles, you know, they talked about Ukraine sent like 143 drones over to Moscow, if I'm not mistaken. Well, last night Russia used almost 400, and they say they're making them multiple ones daily. They'll not be able to. We
right.
can't keep up with that. We can't give them enough shit to keep up with that. So with that, and it's not only China helping them. I can't remember the other country that's helping them now. I mean, I know North Korea is giving them bodies to put on the front line, but somebody else is helping them with the technology, and I can't remember who it was. You guys might know. If you do, let me know or say something real quick. But it's not just China. Could it be Iran?
Yeah. As far as it's possible, Iran is a possibility, but they're not the super high tech, nation that a lot of people think they are.
Well,
But
everything they got is stolen technology.
right, right, and that's what a lot of countries, are doing, is stolen or bought technology. So I mean,
Well,
but I mean, Ukraine, yeah, you're right, they are losing.
I seen a map that I can't remember what program it was on. They showed a map of all the inventions that helped the human condition over the last 50 years. And do you know where 90% of the inventions were created that helped the human condition in this world, the entire world, in the last 50 years? Can you guess? Either one of them, just speak up.
Created, invented.
I'll say
And
India.
no, no. Most of the inventions, the people who has invented something, new technology, over the last 50 years, 90% of it was done right here in the United States. Now, when it come to
Yep.
manufacturing after it was created, no. It showed
I,
China, it showed countries like India, it showed Taiwan, it showed all these other countries of where these new inventive inventions that helps the human condition, and it could be anything from an appliance in the household or whatever, but the we are the inventive ones. We create new things. Everybody else gets the benefit of it, including getting rich off of it. So
now
yeah,
check
so
this out.
the human mind is a crazy thing, but it is so unusual that one country has that many minds that are that creative, and then the rest of the world gets the the advantages of it too. I'm proud that we
Yeah,
have that kind of brain power here, even though most countries think that we're, you know, stupid, fat, and lazy. Uh, but apparently, there's still some
right.
brains out there. Just saying.
Right. Well, check this out. Check this out. As far as what you said about uh our country being the main country that invents stuff. Yes, you are exactly right. Um, it's because we have the freedom that we have. We have and also because we're a meritocracy. We succeed based on our performance, based on our inventiveness, etc. And therefore, you have an incentive to create something new. You have an incentive to innovate and be the best of the best. Okay, now check this out. You remember back when the VCR came out, right? Okay, well, VCR invented here in the United States. Okay, it didn't go over all that well when it was first put out. Okay, it fell over like a lead balloon. Right? That's because it had some flaws in it. Right? So China gets a hold of them, engineers them, finds the flaws, fixes the flaws, and Sony Corporation puts out a VCR that works really well. And now they start marketing it to the United States, selling our own invention back to us. Okay, and that's what these other countries do. They copy, copy paste. But when they do it, they try to fix any flaws that they find.
You know,
So
now I've
clone stuff
always
a lot of times.
I've, I've always found that once something has been created, it's easy to improve on it. The next
Oh
generation
yeah,
makes an improvement. The next group of people make an improvement, and then they disrespect the
exactly.
person that originally made it because the improvement was so much easier to do than having the original thought to create it, and they tend to forget that. I don't know if you guys believe that or
Exactly.
not. I do. I believe a lot of people disrespect the originator because I try to tell my kids when they were growing up, that, think about the automobile. The first car was not an easy thing to make because, for one, we didn't have gas stations at every corner. You know what I mean? It's like when the car was invented, if you got outside a certain portion of America, you were fucked because there was no gas station. It wasn't a thing back then. So the
Do you know the first car was electric?
uh, well, I thought the first car was steam powered, and it was over in France or someplace.
But
It wasn't
they
here.
kind of came out right about the same time.
Tom, you probably might
Um,
know that,
the
brother.
I don't know exactly the
Yeah,
first car. I know
they
some
kind
of
of
the
came out.
original cars ran on peanut oil.
Yeah, 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 yeah. because they didn't know about oil
Yeah,
coming up
yeah.
out of the ground and
There was, yeah,
gasoline.
there was.
But
I've been to that
Right. Yeah, I
Dearborn,
mean, but yeah,
the
back
Ford
in the
Museum.
beginning,
what's that, Tom? Sorry.
I've been to Henry
right?
Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan,
Yeah.
where they have all the different cars and
Uh
stuff.
huh.
Many years ago, but yeah, they had lots of interesting stuff like that there.
Yeah, because like I remember the
Oh
steam
yeah.
car, and the steam car was built like almost 30 years before Ford made his car. But Ford's car obviously is the famous one because they start running it off something that the world runs off of now, which is oil. So that's why
Yep.
Ford is plus Ford invented the assembly line. So that was the most see that was another inventive mind. Okay, you can make a one off, but how do you make a profit by making it one off? Because it costs a lot of money to make a one off. So how do you do it? You make a shit ton of one offs and you put them all together on a moving assembly line.
Y-
So
Yep.
instead of making one
Process.
car a day or a month or whatever, we can make 20 or 30 or 100. And then it lowers the price
Right.
for the average working man to afford the car. That was Ford's thing. He wanted the average man. He wanted every individual who had a job to be able to afford a Ford, so his product could get out there and he'd be well. He's like one of the most famous people ever in history right now. So or ever that I know of. Everybody knows who Henry Ford is. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Few of our young ones, including the ones in college, can tell you who Abraham Lincoln is, or George Washington, or even what Easter was about. I just seen a interview. I like watching interviews on the street because I do want to see how stupid we're turning out these children. And they're talking about they don't want to get rid of the Department of Education. Well, what good have they done? They don't even know what Easter was about. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't know if you guys seen that or not. I'm dumbfounded on something. You know, they do geographical questions. They couldn't tell you where South America was. It's so hilarious. They couldn't even tell you where
Right.
Canada was. One girl couldn't even tell you where Canada was. Canada. It's
That's where
ridiculous.
the geese come from.
Huh?
That's where
Yeah.
the geese come from.
Yeah. Canadian geese. Yeah, because they're not getting eaten in Springfield. They're just flying. They're just migrating to somewhere else. That's where they're going. They're not getting eaten.
And yeah, and there's video of them catching the suckers.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried. I've showed. Obviously Tom knows. I've had videos, and they went super viral. But I've been called so many times a liar, a piece of shit. I'm racist towards Haitians. Uh, Haitian people don't do this. They don't kill cats. They don't do any of this. I'm like, are you stupid fuckers? 70% of the goddamn country believes in. They call it Shangra or something. It's their form of voodoo. What is one of the main basic things is that their highest ritual is to kill and eat the cat because they eat the spirit of the cat and it takes them to another level. And they're so 70% of that country practices this, and the people coming over here, none of them, none practice this religion. Are you fucking serious? I don't have a fucking stray cat problem in my town. Do you have one over in your area, town, Tom? Over on the west end, there is none. Used to
Yeah,
be.
I haven't seen any lately. Yeah.
Yeah, there used to be, but we don't know more. I mean, I'm kind of glad. I hate stray cats. Let them eat them fuckers. I don't care. Problem is, they started taking pets,
Yeah,
not not just the strays. They started taking pets. That's where the problem came in. I
yeah,
know that
throughout
jumped
history,
that jumped completely on another subject. I know, guys, but that's what we do. We just ramble.
that's the way it works. That's the way it works. But yeah, throughout history, all around the world, cats have always been revered as magical creatures. I mean, in just about every culture, almost every culture, cats have been revered as magical creatures. So it stands to reason that they would want to eat and gain that spirit.
Yeah, but
But
the people that drink the Kool Aid, you try to tell them the facts. The facts. There's documentaries. There's all kinds of things that is told this long before this subject ever come to Springfield, right? I mean, I've seen like 4 different documentaries on this. One was about the religion, the other one was about the uh, barbarity of the country, because some of them even eat people. In today's day and age, you still have cannibalists, and the fact that the politicians on the left convinced these people that everybody that lived in Springfield lied, and they're just racist, backwards white people. And don't get me wrong, they found a few of them and interviewed them. They surely did, but they didn't interview the rest of us. They did not interview the rest of us. They interviewed the ones that gave them clicks, that spoke the absurdity.
Yeah, if you look hard enough.
Oh, you'll find an idiot in every neighborhood. Guarantee it.
Right.
And if you look Jackson hard enough, you can find.
The
most popular one was Jackson is his last name. He truly is. He has a mental disorder. He does. He is a mental case. Talking about them, what did he call them? Sand monkeys, and he didn't even know what fucking country they come from. Calling them sand monkeys, I think, and all kinds of stupid racist bullshit. And oh man, was that video played time and time again, national news and everything. It's crazy. Yeah, Dave, you are an idiot, but you're my idiot. Dave is probably one of the Dave in the chat here is probably one of the most knowledgeable people, and he messages me stuff all the time. And we just played one of his videos on the live stream the other night. But yeah, he throws some insightful stuff my way. Some stuff I'd have never thought of. So yeah, Dave's my idiot, guys. Stay away. It's my idiot. I know we were talking about Trump and Putin and them, but I guess we can talk about, because I was going to play an update about the murders that are happening here in town, and about that stash house that was found, that's been located, and ICE has been tipped, by the way. I don't know who did it. I think it was multiple people. I can't tell you who. I know one of them wears a hat and glasses all the time. But it's a rumor right now. But it's been found. One of them. There's another one I'm trying to find. I didn't find that one, by the way. That was I got that off my Facebook page. But saying that, my goal with this whole Haitian thing here in our town is I always wanted to throw it back into the mainstream media space and make it to where they could not deny President Trump did not lie or exaggerate. Now, he did say dogs. I don't know anything about dogs. Do you, Tom? I have never heard anything about dogs.
I haven't heard anything yet.
But the cats, absolutely. The Canadian geese and the ducks in the park, 100% true.
Yeah, there was
Was that?
Right.
Go ahead, T.
Yeah, there was a video that came out back at the beginning of that whole Haitian situation, that somebody claimed that they were catching dogs. They and I quote, dogs and cats, and that's what Trump picked up on, and that's why he repeated it. There was a video that actually was pretty popular.
Yeah, I wish he had not let the dogs out. Who let the dogs out? Because that ain't really the case. The cat thing now, I'm telling you, it's anecdotal evidence, but I'm telling you, I used to have like 20 stray cats, and I had one of those bunkhouses across the street from me. That's how my video went viral. Before Trump ever went on the debate that night, I made a video because it started making national news, or at least local news. I seen it on Channel 7 talking about the Haitian problem, and not so much the cats been eaten, but the mass amount of Haitians that were here. And I did a video talking about the bunkhouse that was across the street from me and my interaction with the people because there was a ton of them, but a bunch of people lived over there and they had kids. And, I knew not that many people. There's no way they have their own bedrooms because the place was only a 3-bedroom house. But I didn't know what a bunkhouse was at the time. So, anyways, I told my story about my interaction with him, and it wasn't a good one because that white van would pull out in the front and just lay on its horn until the motherfuckers come out to go to work. And I went over there and told him I was feeling bad one day, and I went over and told him to quit blowing that fucking horn, and that's how I said it. Get your ass out of the van, go up and knock on the goddamn door. If I hear this fucking horn blown again, I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna pop one in your ass. I'm tired of this fucking horn. Anyways, the story went viral. I didn't say all of it, but I did say most of that because I wasn't gonna incriminate myself at the time on YouTube talking about firearms. But the guy did. He got out and he went up and knocked, and I never had a problem after that. And like less than 6 months later, something about the sale of the house fell through, and they all had to leave, and the house has been empty ever since. So I don't know what the heck's the problem with the sale of the house, but if the house, I'm sure George 10 or somebody was trying to buy it at the time, but something happened. And anyway, they moved them out, and I ain't seen them since, so they're not in my neighborhood anymore. But I did have a personal experience with them, and I do have a personal experience with the cats because before they moved in, we had 20 plus cats just roaming around here. I hated it. Every time you turn around, you had cat paws on your car, because you had to park out on the street, and you go get in your car and you see these little muddy cat prints on your car, and it's like, Jesus Christ! But I don't have that problem no more. Thank you, Haitians. Just saying.
Right.
And then
That's the thing. Here, here where I live, the the cat problem is unchecked because we don't have any Haitians.
We can send them to you.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd rather not.
well, see, people always ask me, what's an update with the Haitians? How's it going? And just on the news, well, our governor just said that things in Springfield are now going back to normal because a lot of the Haitians are leaving because of the fear of Donald Trump. Well, they're not back to normal. That's a fucking lie. There ain't nothing normal about our town. The Haitians are the ones that are still working are still here. The ones that had jobs are still here. The worst of the worst are still here. The families, a lot of the families, because there was a joke around here there at the beginning that you couldn't buy or rent a U-Haul, rather, because they were all rented by Haitians because they were leaving town. So there's no U-Hauls available locally. And but the worst of the worst stay, which I've said it since the beginning. When it comes time to get this Haitian gang out of here, there will be an altercation between law officials and the Haitians. There will be gunfire. They have been stashing guns since the beginning of this. I don't know, Tom, I don't know how much you pay attention to it, but I have people tell me stuff all the time now. But I knew about the stash houses of the guns. I knew about how they were purchasing guns. They were not walking in themselves and purchasing guns. They sell a lot of drugs in this town, and they sell prostitution. They do trafficking. So they literally got people who were eligible to purchase the gun, local people, to go in places like Rural King, purchase a gun, bring it out, give it to them, and go about their business. They give them the drugs that they did the trade for to do it. And they stashed these guns at these houses. There were 2 of them. Well, one house has been located. The other one's still over here on the west end somewhere. But these people are not going to go quietly in the night. I don't know, Tom, if you've heard any of this or not.
I've heard that they're getting guns, and you know, I guess they have guns. I got plenty of guns.
Yeah, but they're not after me and you, Tom.
Yeah.
They're gonna fight the officials, the local law enforcement, and possibly ICE But the problem I have with this town is some of these people should have been scheduled for deportation already, but they never get, when they get charged with something, the charges are always dismissed in court. And I've showed evidence, it's public record. I've showed evidence time and time again where they've been in court multiple times for different offenses, and it says no previous convictions or offenses before, even though I know, like in some of the traffic instances, they've had to pay a fine or whatever, but that never shows them have it on their record. And when they do something serious, like something that's actual legal, not traffic, charges are always dismissed. We have some corrupt judges, corrupt prosecutors, corrupt mayor, corrupt councilman. I mean, it's rotten all the way up to the governor's office. And to try, when somebody who's drank the Kool-Aid on the left, you try to explain that to them, they can't fathom the idea that so many people would be that corrupt, but they are.
Yeah, I think what they need to do is have the ATF quit going after pistol braces and binary triggers and all this crazy stuff. And they need to have the ATF investigate those straw purchases and prosecute those people and put them in prison, because that's a really hardcore felony to do a straw purchase like that.
Yeah, but do you think these Haitians care?
No,
You know,
but you get rid of the people willing to do the straw purchases, and then the people who they go to, like, hey, we need you to go buy us a gun. Like, I just heard my friend went to prison for 10 years for that. I'm not doing that. There's no way, you know.
well, they're going to have to raid the houses, get the guns, and if the serial numbers haven't been removed from them, which I know there's a way with acid they can bring it back because there's always like some
Yeah,
indentation left. But the fact is, then they can go after the locals who originally bought the guns for them. But they had the story of that one young lady who worked with Royal King before and was talking about how the Haitians came in there and purchased guns, and her boss, uh, they had some kind of a wait they had to do because they wasn't U.S. citizens, but they were here not under TPS. Some of them that are under temporary protective status got uh, evolved into like refugee status. The refugee status came in, so everybody here under temporary protective status were told that when they come here, they would never have to leave because they were working on getting their status changed while they were working. Because they were working, they was going to be able to stay here. It bursted the bubble on a whole lot of them, but a lot of them did get refugee status eventually. The ones that come here, way early.
yeah,
So those are the ones that were, for whatever reason, are legally allowed to buy guns. I don't believe they were part of the Haitian gang thing. I believe the drug addicts and the whores in this town went and purchased the guns for trade for drugs and shit. And those are the guns that they have, not went in and purchased them themselves.
yeah.
And
I believe if you have a visa, if you're here legally on a visa, there is a process where you can provide that documentation and get a gun and legally fill out a
right,
4473. You can do it with a green card as well. Um, but temporary protected status does not give them the ability to buy a gun.
no, and that's what I was saying. So these people that were supposedly going to be under waiting list or the waiting period, she was what she was saying in her story was that her boss told her to ignore that and go ahead and purchase them the gun that they'll pass, and that's
I
what she
don't
did.
know. I don't know what the waiting period is though, because I mean, when you fill out your 4473 and they send it in, you pretty much know instantly you're going to be allowed, permitted, you're going to be denied, or you're
Uh,
going to be put on a hold, which is 3 days.
right when I do it, within 15 minutes, I don't even got to leave the counter. Within 15 minutes, I'm able to purchase the firearm. But
Yeah.
for whatever reason, because they were, card holders and not actual U.S. citizens, there was a waiting period. And like I said, in her
Hmm.
story, she was honest. She told the truth. She wasn't saying that they were buying them illegally. She's saying that they had a waiting period, and her boss told them to forget the waiting period, go ahead and sell them the gun. That
Yeah.
was what she was saying that Royal King was doing illegally.
Yeah, because
And
if you don't get a proceed back and you sell them the gun, that's a felony. You'll lose your FFL and you could be prosecuted for that. You know?
yeah, and she said she did it because, it was her job and she didn't want to lose it. Eventually she quit the job, but then the day after that interview, she got a visit from ATF
Mm-hmm.
and she had to lawyer up. So the preacher that did the interview with her and Barron, local guy here in town that works with the homeless, he has a food truck, which is pretty good food, by the way. Uh, they helped her get a lawyer because she had to lawyer up over that because what she was saying on camera was that even though somebody told her to do it, she did it. So she had to get, you
She
know,
has to quit.
legal
She can't not do it.
representation.
She doesn't think it's right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So she had to get legal representation because she should have denied
Right.
or said, not, I'm not going to do it. And, you know,
Yeah.
if she
One of
lost
the
her
things I
job,
know
uh,
One of the things I know from working with so many different gun stores and knowing the employees there so well is that if one employee says, I think there's something wrong here, this might be a straw purchase or something's not right, and they decide not to sell that gun, that store cannot sell them a gun. Nobody else can sell it to them either. Right? They have to stop the transaction right there.
yeah, which apparently, according to that girl, the bosses at Royal King didn't care about that.
Yeah.
They wanted the gun sale. And of course, it's her signature or whatever, whatever the employee number, whatever that's on the cell, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what she was uncomfortable with. But she did it because her boss told her she had to. So I think that's why she had
Yeah.
ATF come to her door and lawyer up, like you should have denied doing it because you broke the law, even though they told you to do it. You're the one that broke the law, and they're in trouble too because they allowed it.
I
But
speak from experience. I can't talk about it because I'm ordered by a judge not to talk about it. But I've been in the room with the feds before. It's not fun. You need a lawyer.
yeah, they're not your friend. If the government comes knocking, don't matter who's in charge, Trump or anybody, because he don't know what the lower level government officials are doing. You can bet on that. Uh, yeah, you're not going to come out ahead.
Yeah.
So all I can say is if they come knocking on my door, um, I'm assuming it's not going to be good. So why not go out in a blaze of glory?
And a lot of people also don't realize this. If you get in trouble with the feds, any of the federal agencies, and they're just questioning you, they haven't even charged you yet. They're just wanting to question you. You can request an attorney, even if you can't afford one. They will appoint you a federal public defender, which is a whole different class of lawyer than like a local county. Federal public defenders are actually really good lawyers, and they will come and sit with you while you're being questioned, even if you haven't been charged yet.
That is good to know, and I think most people do know that. It's just the fact that if you're, it's very intimidating to be a regular person and to be done, treated that way, whatever you want to call it. And when they pretty much are telling you you're in trouble as they're questioning you, because they don't say you may be in trouble, they say you're in trouble, and we're going to try to help you get out of it. Instead of we're going to try to talk you into telling us something that will put you in trouble. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. They usually have one person in there that's really aggressive, and another person that's pretending to be your friend and try to help you.
Yep, yep. I understand where I understand. I'd be just like you if I didn't have this job. I'm sure. You did it. You did what you thought was right. Yeah, not happening. Uh, not happening. I talk to nobody. I I tell more shit on this live stream stuff than I ever would tell a cop. I don't have a good relationship with the police. People think you have like white privilege. No, you don't. It's social privilege is what it is. It ain't got nothing to do with the color of your skin. Because I grew up on a bad part of town, and the police have always treated me like shit because they know my last name. I've never done anything wrong as far.
Yeah.
I went to work every day, raised my kids, didn't break the law. I mean, I got a few speeding tickets in life, but just because of my last name, because I've had brothers that been in trouble with the law, I get treated like shit every time.
Yeah. I can't say I've really ever had any problems with
If
the
I've got any kind of privilege,
like police.
What's that, Tony? What'd you say, Tony?
I said, if I've got any kind of privilege, I want to know when it kicks in, where it's at. You know, white privilege, social privilege, whatever. Yeah, I want to know when it kicks in.
See, that's the
I know. I
problem.
mean, I have a Buick Lucerne. The windows are tinted like limousine dark. I bought it this way. I got it for $400 and fixed it. And it's got custom wheels on it. It has a loud stereo in it with a big subwoofer and a big amplifier. And I'll be like cruising along, and cops will be like following me, and I'll just roll my window down and let them see my white arm, and then they'll turn off. I swear to God, it's like they have this
Must be
stereo
a northern thing.
of that car.
Yeah, I've been pulled over for my tent. Thank you very much, Tom. Uh, and it was legal. The back window was limo tent. It was a pickup truck. I had it custom tinted, so I knew not to. And the company that did it wouldn't put tint on there that would break the law anyway. So I
Yeah,
knew the tint was legal. But I had like a strip of limo tint across the top of the windshield, and the back window was limo tint, but the door windows were not. They had that 30% because it's like 70/30 is the legal limit for Ohio. But man, have they tried to get me. They come up with that little thing and they stick it on there and they act irritated they didn't get me. You know what I mean? Damn it, I didn't get it that time. Fuck. We'll get you one day. But yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, I've never had that privilege at all. You know, it
I
don't matter
think there is
if my
some
arm's sticking out the
privilege
window or not. When you're doing 110 and a 55, you're getting pulled over.
Yeah, but for instance, I guarantee I could take my AK-47, throw it over my shoulder, and walk up to Speedway right now and get me a drink. And I probably wouldn't have any run-in with the police at all. If I would, I probably wouldn't get shot. My black friend tries that, he's probably going to end up shot. You
You
know,
know, it all depends on. Honestly, I think it's the first interaction. When they say something to
Must be a
you,
northern thing.
well, when they say something to you, it's your first response that will dictate the rest of the interaction with them. Because I don't
yeah,
care. I hate to say this. Most black people puff up and act like, motherfucker, what the fuck are you fucking with me for? You know what I mean? And all of a
yeah,
sudden, there,
yeah.
then it goes downhill from there. You know, they talk about the young black men getting this uh, speech from their parents when they first learn, start driving. That's bullshit. I got the same speech from my mother. It's comply or die. I was taught that because of the neighborhood I lived in. It was a dangerous place to live because the cops thought everybody there was a criminal. So my mother, before I was ever at a driving age, said, "You look here. It don't matter what they say to you, or no matter how they treat you. It's comply or die. So I want you to come back home. So it don't matter how much of an asshole that individual is. You let them be an asshole. Let them feel good for the moment,
Oh yeah.
a- and it'll be over with. It's not a big deal." And that's how I've treated cops for the most part. Now I've had a few run-ins where the cop just got on my nerves too much for stupid shit. I had a gun pulled over him on me for. Uh, this is a funny story. I'll tell you. We went to a Creed concert over in Dayton, Ohio, next town over from us. Well, second town, but we went to Taco Bell after the concert, right? So the line ain't moving. I had to piss. One of my other buddies had to piss. I'm in the passenger seat. He's in the back seat. There's a row of bushes at this Taco Bell over in Dayton. We both got out and we were pissing on the other side of the bushes. Now we were facing the Taco Bell parking lot in the street, but we were over on the other side of the bush, and the bushes were like just below my chest, so they couldn't see nothing. But we're sitting there and we're just pissing, and cops go by, and I seen the like brake lights coming on. There wasn't no intersection there. It's like, ah, shit. So we get back in the car, and I said, "Look, guys, this line ain't moving. Let's go down. We're just thirsty. Let's go down to the next intersection. There's a gas station, and we'll head home back to town." And everybody in the place is drunk. In the car is drunk. Two in the back. My brother driving. Drunk on his ass, driving. I hadn't drank a drop. We pull into the gas station. I opened the door to get out and turn around and flip the seat up so they could get out so we could go in and get something to drink. And boom, cop pulls up behind us. Two cops pull in front of us. The dude behind us he gets behind his door and pulls a damn gun and tells me to get back in the car. Now, usually when you're out of the car, they tell you put your hands on the car, right? He told me to get back in the fucking car. I said, why? Why you want me back in the car for? I said, get in the car. And he's doing this number with his gun. I was like, oh my God. So I get back in the car and he comes up and he starts talking to my brother. And I'm like, you stupid fuck. Because he started talking about, we've seen you urinate in public. I said, I get out and you pull a gun on me for urinating in public? Are you fucking stupid? And I started going off. My brother like, shut up, man. And the cop's like, well, I can tell your brother over there has had a little bit too much to drink. He's a little bit too belligerent, but I'm going to let that slide because I know how alcohol controls people's minds sometimes. And I'm the only sober one in the car. My brother's fucking plastered talking to this guy because the cops telling my brother that he can smell the alcohol on me from all the way over on his side of the car. I was like, it's his alcohol you're smelling, dumbass. So anyway, they would not let us get nothing to drink. They told my brother to tell your brother to calm down. Y'all go home. I'm gonna let you go this time, but do not urinate in public anymore. I'm thinking, fuck, this is a story to tell later. Because who would have ever thought I'd had a gun pulled on me for pissing in public? And true story, but that's my interaction with cops. That was the only time I was ever belligerent to a cop, by the way, because I thought that was so ridiculous. Because I thought they pulled a gun on me. They pulled a gun on me for urinating behind a fucking bush at Taco Bell. They pulled a gun on me. I was so upset with that. I was like, my brother's like, shut up. Because, like we get the movies like, he could have done that test on me and I could have went to jail for drinking. I was like, he thought your smell was my smell. You were safe. What the fuck? They didn't even talk about the other guy that was pissing with me that was in the back seat. It was all about me because I had the attitude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it's probably not an interesting story to most people, but it was a story from my youth because I wasn't even old enough to drink at the time. You know what I'm saying? But and of course, neither was anybody else in the car, by the way. So just saying. And it was a good concert, by the way. The pyrotechnics, we were like right up. I was right at the front row, standing on the floor. Man, when the pyrotechnic shit went off, you could feel the heat. It was awesome. I think that's why I have tinnitus now. Not because of my work history of working around heavy equipment. It's because of all the loud concerts that I've been in front of the big amps. But yeah, that's personal tragedy there. Tinnitus sucks. We got way off topic here. Go ahead, Tom.
I have permanent tinnitus. It never goes away.
No, it's not. It's permanent. Yeah, my right ear.
I have permanent.
Yeah, mine. They say it's permanent damage. The only way they can fix it is to remove your eardrum. Then you're deaf. But sometimes when that ringing gets super loud, you want to be deaf because it literally feels like it's putting pressure on your brain. And I've been told that it can make you go crazy. A real bad case of it. But I run a fan. Matter of fact, I have a fan running right now, running at a certain speed that helps that. I don't know what you do, Tony, but that's I have a fan around. I when we lose electric here, like during a storm, oh, it drives me crazy because
Deal with it.
the silence is deafening. If it's, I hope like it's real raining real bad, then I'll go down on the front porch and listen to it rain. But if I'm in my bedroom, I can't take it. That's a medical diagnosis there, people.
Right. I really, for the most part, just deal with it. But white noise does kind of help.
It
Like
does.
the sound of rain, a fan running, things like that.
Yeah, loud music, louder than should be, helps a lot.
Eh,
Sometimes
Like
my ear rings a little
right.
bit. There was
it,
an incident at a gun range where there's two doors, and I went in the first door, and I hadn't put my hearing protection on yet. And there's a window, and when you come out, you're supposed to look to make
Uh
sure there's
oh.
nobody there, and they have hearing protection on. Well, they just opened the door, and I hadn't put my hearing protection on yet. Somebody was shooting a 454 Casal, and
indoor gun range.
yeah, and that hit
Oh
me.
God,
Ooh.
I can't even imagine. Good
But
Lord.
like when I hear a really high
It's
pitched
gonna
sound,
go
then my
really.
ear will ring for a little bit, but then it goes away. But
Mine is from. I used to be for 10 years straight. I was a heavy duty truck and trailer tire man, and it was like one of my second jobs. I worked two jobs for 10 years, and I took the job because I had experience. Because I trained in the tire department for JB Hunt at the time. So I was a tire man on the side for 10 years. And back then, there was no earmuffs, no nothing. So you got a 1 inch gun, you got inner and outer lug nuts, you're hammering away at this shit, you're beating shit down with a hammer. I mean, everything is a pounding, ringing sound. And in a,
yeah,
it echoes real bad. So that hammering of the 1 inch gun and the air exhausting out of the back of it, it echoes real loud. So, me personally, I think that 10 years of doing that uh, was what destroyed my eardrums to give me that ringing in the ears. And
yeah,
then, like, I have the floating black spots in my eyes too. They said that's from welding all those years because I've had flash burn like 3 different times. If anybody's ever had flash burn in their eyes, it's a miserable thing to have happen to you. It's like having
Yeah,
sandpaper.
not flash burn, but I've had chemical burn.
Yeah, it's like having sand between your eyeball and your eyelid.
wow.
You've never had that happen to you, Tom? Or do you weld at all?
I weld, and I mean just a little wire feed welder, a flux core. But I have a welding helmet, and then I also have safety glasses that have the special lenses that don't transmit ultraviolet light.
Yeah. Well, I have a helmet. Back in the day, when I was building round track cars, I was welding in roll cages. Sometimes you couldn't get your head in there with a helmet. So you have to like put just to do what you can, put the hand up and try to get the because it's got to be welded correctly. Roll cages, it's got to be done right. But a
Yeah,
lot of times, my big butt couldn't get in there with a helmet because the helmet wouldn't fit to be able to see what I needed to see. So that's when I was flash burned over the years 3 different times is building race cars, trying to get in there to do it. And I just couldn't. Now helmets are much smaller. And, back then I didn't even have the glasses, the goggles or anything. I just had to pull down helmet. There was no auto darkening. Auto darkening is the best invention in the world, people, for welders. Auto darkening has been a game
I got
changer.
outer darkening
There you
helmet.
go.
Yeah, it's a game changer to have an auto darkening helmet.
Yeah,
Back in the day when you didn't, you just got close to work because, like, I started out brazing and arc welding. They didn't have MIG welders back then. So I started out like you get it up right close to where you need to start to do the weld and then pull the helmet down and start and hope your hand didn't move while you're pulling the helmet down.
yeah,
That took a little bit of skill. Nowadays, you just leave the helmet on and
yeah.
yeah, technical shit for those people who are into cars. Uh, but it is what it is. So we got way off track there from Trump and Putin. Matter of fact, we got so far off track. I'm not even going to show that video. I think we'll talk about Macron getting bitch slapped by his wife. But you say it's not a bitch slap, right? I didn't see. I haven't seen the video yet. I've got it queued up, but I haven't watched it yet. I just seen. I just.
Yeah, I watched the video. I watched the video, and I've actually seen two different videos from two different angles. And what I see, okay, he comes to the door, and you don't really see her. He turns towards where she's at, and then you see her arm, her hand goes up and like this on his face, and it's like a shove on his face. That's what I saw. I didn't see a slap. No, that's I mean, you may call that a slap, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it looked like a face shove to me.
We'll find out. I'll play the video. Have you seen it, Tom?
No.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. Let's watch this video and let's make fun
Go
of him.
for it.
Because his wife used to be a he.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
One of
she's
those
like
creatures.
30 years older than him or something.
Is she actually
She don't look
converted
half
into a
her
she?
age.
I mean, does she actually have a mangina, or does she still just dress like a woman?
To that information, I have no idea.
Don't know. I've not really been that curious about it to find out. I mean, I guess somebody knows the truth. All right, so here it is. This one.
See that? There's a shove. It looked to me kind of like a get out of my face.
So I think you were right there, Tony. It was a face. It was a palm shove. You know,
Yeah, it was like a get out of my face and shove.
she meant it in the nicest way.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
No, it wasn't as bad as they said. Although I don't know, face shove. Why is she face shoving her husband? So
Oh, yeah, I mean, and he
Kinda-
is the
you
president.
noticed he looked
you know
like.
what I mean?
Yeah. Plus, he realized there was some people watching him after that happened. He'd be like, "Hey, how you doing? Yeah. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. We just know that's our love language."
Right. Yeah, pay
Oh,
no
Lord.
attention.
Yeah. Nothing happening over here. It's all right. Don't worry about it. That's what we do that to each other. It's all good. Yeah, I'll pump the shit out of him later. So, yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, I thought that was cute. I played that. And I didn't really have much I was going to talk about it. I was just going to laugh about it because
Right.
Macron is a cocksucker anyway. I don't mean that literally, although he could be literally if his wife is a he. So
Well, I
saying
mean,
that,
we don't know the surgical status.
no, we don't. But if
Post-op, pre-op,
if
you know?
if the rumors are true, whether she has it or not, I guarantee when they first got together, she didn't have the surgery yet, and he was smoking that thing. Just saying,
Probably.
because it's true love. You can tell it's true love by the palm shove. I mean, don't y'all women do that to you? I mean,
Not a bit.
okay, well maybe it just happens at my house. I don't know. That's we'll get into another subject. So we were talking about Trump. We jumped into the Haitian deal here in town. We jumped into the Macron thing. Before I told a story of my youth of white privilege does not exist.
Oh,
Tony it is Rumble Studio. So each one of us will be doing that. I don't know if
yeah.
he'll get back on real quick. Hopefully he will. But Rumble Studios, guys, has its problems, and if you're still hanging out with us, because I've seen we lost a
Oh, does
few
he know
people,
what to do when that happens?
so a few people's dropped off. It is late, later than I usually do it. I usually do my stuff in the morning, but I have a job now, so I'm still going to try to
Right,
do them
right.
in the morning. They've actually scheduled me for mid afternoons, 2 to 6.
That's cool.
So that's why I
Oh,
told.
okay.
But on Fridays, it's noon to 5. That's why I was telling you, Tony. I want to
Right.
come on your show, and I wouldn't get home in time because you usually do yours for about an hour, right?
It depends. But usually, yeah, it's right about an hour. Sometimes I end up going, hell, the other day I went 3 hours, so
Well, if you're still
at
on,
Friday.
if you're still on Tuesday through Thursday this week, by the time I get off work and get home, I'll try to holler at you through chat. Maybe we
Yeah,
can hook
always
up.
shoot me a text or an email or
But
something, and I'll send you a link.
for sure, Friday, I get off at 5. If you want to hang out, I'll get on with you at 6. And like I said, I'm gonna try the rest of the week to do my live streams in the morning before I go to work. But and I don't know if you're up early enough to get to watch Kim's Coffee Talk.
Oh, what time is she on? You know.
6:30 in the morning.
Oh no, I'm not up that early.
Yeah, see, a lot of times I am, and I'll jump into her chat room, and she'll see that I'm in her chat room. There you are, Tom. And let me tell you something, Tom. Rumble Studio, after you're on for an hour, kicks you out, and you have to refresh it. I'm glad you got
Well, I
you.
lost all my internet. My internet went down for a few minutes and it came back. So I don't know.
Oh, well, see, usually Rumble Studios, each one of us will be kicked out after a certain point in time. We just have to jump back in. That's what Rumble Studio does. It has its glitches. It has a problem with chat room,
Yeah,
and it has a
it has
problem with
yeah.
that.
The kicking you out thing has to do with their notification system.
Uh,
Um, when it notifies your followers that you're on and everything. Well, it does that every so often at certain point in time. When it does, it'll reset your stream, and
oh, is that what it
that's
is?
what it's doing when it kicks you
Oh,
off. It's
okay.
resetting your stream.
So it's
And
anybody who's on
a
Rumble.
lot of creators have emails. Right.
I get it.
A lot of creators have emailed support and told them to hey, fix that,
That makes sense because we're on Rumble, so it's usually us who gets kicked out. It's rarely a guest, I guess, because they're not on Rumble; they're just linked in. But Rumble does has its problems. Uh, I I have Restream,
Yeah,
which
it's a
is
new thing.
Restream is better, believe it or not. That it's better for me to do with videos and everything like that. The problem is you don't get credit for your live streams if you use another program. You have to use Rumble Studio.
Right.
And since I'm a partner, believe it or not, Tom, I've done enough to become a Rumble partner I did my first campaign yesterday, Big T. Are you doing them yet?
Awesome. No, I haven't gotten any yet.
Well,
But
the
hopefully
criteria on
soon.
that is you got to have 25 people or more watching your live stream. And then the little campaign thing will light up and then you can read the script. And so I did my first one
Right,
yesterday.
right.
So I had
Awesome.
184 people pop in my live stream.
That's
So
cool.
Right,
it
right.
was a lot for me. Uh, so,
I need some viewership for that.
I get a lot of views afterwards usually, but to have that many pop in while I'm live streaming, it's pretty cool because I don't schedule these. I don't do no notifications, Tom. I just, whenever I get a chance and I feel like I can live stream and I got something to say, I usually just kick it on and it goes on. If you're not a follower and you don't have the notification bell on, you never know when I'm on. Now, uh, I don't. Tom, do you follow it? Are you subscribing to any of my channels other than the car channel?
I'm subscribed to like the second channel you started.
Jimmy
One was
Pockets.
for politics and one was for more cars or whatever. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
subscribed.
Jimmy Pockets, right. So
I
I went for a while and did not do nothing on Jimmy Pockets. I was doing it on my car channel and Rumble. and I decided, you know what, my car people don't want to see this politics stuff. So I decided I did a 30-day notification every time I went live. I said, look, if you're watching me on my car channel, better stop, better come, better come get on one of these other channels, or you're not going to see it anymore. And I'm sticking to it. I'm not getting on my car channel anymore. So then I started using the Jimmy Pockets channel again. I don't live stream everything on YouTube because I get tired. I have to go back in and edit the recording within 24 hours, or else they send me a nasty gram talking about removing my channel if I don't remove certain content. Now they're nice about it, and they tell me where in my video from my live stream that I have to remove. So I'm able to go in and edit it and remove it, but I just get tired of doing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've
some
only got one notification from YouTube because I post my replay videos, my standalones. I post them over on YouTube on my channel. In fact, I need to do another batch upload. But yeah, I've only gotten one thing, and what it was a copyright claim. I used a copyrighted song, and
Oh yeah,
they
you
didn't
can't play no
strike me.
music.
They just
Can't play no
just did
music.
a claim.
I have to delete the
Well,
first
you can play music. It's
5 minutes.
going to be royalty free.
Yeah, the first 4 minutes and 50 some seconds I have to delete on every video that I use on YouTube because of I'm playing music and it's a copyright. But then they tell me they give me
Yeah.
like the minutes and seconds of the next portion of my video that is content that is outside the community guidelines is what they call it. So I go
Right.
in there and I
Right.
find that section and I splice it out. So if you watch a video on YouTube, it may not make sense to you because I'll be talking about something and all of a sudden, 4 minutes and 30 seconds is gone and it just clipped right into the next thing, whatever I was saying after that. So some of my recordings
What you
don't make
need to
sense
do,
on YouTube, but
yeah,
it's something you got to deal with.
what you need to do, James, what you need to do, James, is since you do that, what you do is do a standalone recording that you can splice to the beginning of every one of your videos.
Oh
That
yeah,
basically just tells the people this video
Prom-
has been edited from its original content,
promote
and
Rumble.
if you want
You
to
can
see if
catch
you
it
want to
on
see the
Rumble.
original, go see Rumble.
Go to Rumble.
Right,
Subliminal messaging.
right,
If you
yeah,
want to know what I said here, you
yeah,
need to go to Rumble.
Yeah.
right. See, this video has been edited due to YouTube's community standards and copyrights. If you want to see the original video, please go to and give your address on Rumble, and
Now,
that way you get more viewers over here. Plus, they're watching that video, so
I do that on some of my reloading videos because YouTube will not let you reload a round of ammunition from beginning to end. That's manufacturing ammunition. So you can do it in multiple videos. Like, this is how I trim the case. This is how I put the powder in. This is how I seat the bullet. But if you put it all together, it's against
uh-huh.
the guidelines. So I'll just cut sections out of that. And then I'll put, like, if you want to see the full video, go see it on my Rumble channel. You know.
yeah, I didn't know you had a Rumble
Right.
channel. Hey, when you get a chance, text that to me, Tom. I'll go
Yeah.
give you a follow on that. That way I can be notified when you're doing it. And we ought to get together and do a car video. I've
Yeah.
been saying I want to do that. I want to come over and hang out in your garage. Matter of fact, what I want is I want somebody who can hook up to my computer and tell me what's wrong with my car for free. Now I know I could go to like O'Reilly's or some place, but sometimes their scanners are very basic.
Yeah. Yeah, I got
But
one somewhere.
that's what I say. So yeah, I wanna use your services and videotape it at the same time, Tom.
Yeah, I got my little
Yeah.
favorite Alta or
With these autos,
Is that wrong?
the basic code scanner.
well, I mean, they can give you the codes, but the codes don't always tell you what's wrong, right?
Exactly.
There's some like 50 some codes for
Right.
an O2 sensor, and only a couple of them mean it's a bad O2 sensor. The rest of them are telling you like there's a fuel trim problem, a vacuum leak, there's something going on. It's causing that O2 sensor to run rich or to always be leaking. So, a lot of people, they just read the code, blah, 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 O2 sensor. Oh, it needs an O2 sensor, and
See, my knowledge stops
Right.
when they started putting computers on them. When they started having like the port injection, all that shit. It's like, nah, I'm old school. I can rebuild a carburetor. I can rebuild an old distributor. I can change one over from points to electronic. You know what I mean? I'm old school. You give me something old
yeah,
school like the 56 Chevy I got that I'm working on. Yeah, there's nothing you can tell me that I don't already know. But when it comes to this newer stuff, like my, 2006, even though that's not new to a lot of people, it's newer than I like messing with because it's got an engine light and it developed
I'm
a
not,
small mist, and the engine light came on before the mist happened. So I don't know if they're related, but I like to fix it. And I really don't want to pay a
yeah.
dealership or somebody, $125 to hook the scanner up to it. So I said, I know my man Tom's got one of those scanners. I'm just joking.
oh yeah, I
but,
can scan.
Yeah,
I
I'm not.
mean,
I'm
just
not even.
look at it, but
but I figure we could make a YouTube channel or a video out of it, whether we put it on your channel or mine or both, and
yeah,
figure out what's wrong with my Yukon, because I'd really
Right.
like to get rid of the mist in the engine light, because I'm almost to the point where I'm going to put a big wide piece of electrical tape across it, and then I can say the engine light ain't on no more.
yeah,
You
or
know,
take the
that's
bulb out.
that's old school. Well, then I'd have to pull the dash part to do that. And I'm too fucking lazy for that shit.
A
Uh,
Yukon instrument cluster is now hard to take out.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
all
not even a
plastic.
car guy. I got a ring.
That's what I'm saying. I could probably buy a scanner, but I don't know. I'm stubborn. I just ain't there yet. I'd rather work on the old shit. You know what I mean? That's like I
I
got
mean,
a 2011 Challenger, and if an engine light was to come on it, nope, not me. Gonna have to take it to somebody.
I got a few basic scanners that have been sent to me. I could give you that, or like glorified code readers, a little bit of live data. But you really want something like this? Is a Launch X431. It's like a $900 tool, right?
Yeah, when I worked part
This will
time
do
at
all the
O'Reilly's.
directional controls, see all the modules, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, when I worked part time at O'Reilly's a few years ago, when I first got my disability, um, the scanner they had, all it did was, basically they tell you, okay, it's an O2 sensor. Well, which one? Don't know. It just tells you it's an O2 sensor. You know what I mean? That scanner was
yeah,
that basic. And then he started asking shit about, well, can you scan ABS? Can you scan this? Can you scan? Nope, nope, can't do it. It's just tells you if it's an O2 sensor or a map sensor or something
yeah,
in that portion, but it won't tell you the position of it. And that's all I ever knew about scanners. And I said, man, that's so irritating because you're still just chasing it by putting parts on it. And I hate chasing a problem by just throwing parts at it.
and like I could put a sensor on top of your coil pack, hook it to my oscilloscope, and I could tell where that misfire is a lean misfire, a rich misfire, a bad spark plug, or a broken coil boot, or a bad ignition coil, just by reading that scope reading correctly.
See, Tom, that's why we're friends. Do you do any political stuff on your Rumble channel? Or do you still do
No,
the car
I
stuff?
mean I'm not really a political person. I mean I have beliefs and you know but I'm not. I don't really listen to politics and follow politics all the time. I'm a really busy person. Today I cut the backyard, did
Hey,
some
hey,
gardening,
Tom.
the hedges, fixed my Honda rear control arm, and then I had to go fix my friend's toilet, fix another friend's electrical outlet. And then I still had to come home and eat my birthday cake. Today's my birthday.
Oh,
And,
happy birthday.
yeah,
Memorial Day's your birthday today. That is awesome.
Happy birthday, dude.
Happy birthday, my friend.
But hey, Tom, I'm not a political person either, but I do politics. You want to know why? Because there is almost nothing that you can talk about that the politics doesn't permeate into.
Oh yeah.
I literally on Facebook put up with no caption, no nothing, no graphics or anything. I put a picture of a puppy on Facebook. Within 3 minutes, the comment section was nothing but political over a puppy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
come on. I mean,
well, you know,
so
I kept my
there's really
politics. I kept my politics to myself. The only people that knew I was even political at all was my family members because my mom used to be a Democrat before she voted for Trump. By the way, uh, she's not the second time because she'd already passed away, but she voted for Trump the first time. First Republican in history she ever voted for. She always was blue, no matter who. And I've always been on the conservative side, always back since junior high school. Uh, we've had people thought that me and my mother hated each other sometimes by the colorful conversations that we had about our political people we supported. And my family hated it. Come holidays, we get to talking about politics. My family hated it, but nobody outside our family even knew who I voted for, whether I was Republican, Democrat. Nobody, an independent didn't know shit till the Haitian thing.
Yeah.
That kind of now after that, it was everybody was asking me political questions, like I'm supposed to
Well,
have some insight on the political world or something. And I'm
there,
just like everybody else. I watch the news. That's it.
there's an equal amount of hate out there for a guy that does a video saying, "I have Haitian neighbors next door, and they seem like perfectly nice people, and I don't have any problems with them." There's an equal amount of hate from all the Haitian haters coming to your channel, like, "You're just full of it. You're lying." Blah 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 blah. I turn comments off on that video. Yeah, it's like,
No, I like the trolls because I've had a few trolls and I've invited them to come on camera and talk. Get out of the chat room and come have
yeah,
a conversation with me. Before usually somebody else, because they're moderators in the chat room, they'll silence them. They'll remove their chat. And I don't really like that. I ask them not to do that. And sometimes they'll like flood my chat or whatever, and then it's just stupid. You're not saying anything. When they want to have their argument, when they want to have an argument against what I'm saying, then I say, look, get out of the chat room, come hang out with me on camera. Let's have a conversation about this. You could change my mind. I could
yeah.
change yours if you're willing to listen instead of just spouting off in chat with your bullshit.
The
There's
way that
not one.
usually works for people on the hard left, though, is they'll make a few good points or try to make a few good points. Then you'll just keep knocking them down with actual facts
Then
and
they
truth.
start doing the name calling.
And then they'll be like, "Well, your mom dresses too funny, and you got dirty underwear."
Yeah,
It's like,
they
it turns
resort
out,
to the name calling.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Name calling. That's all they can do. You know how I know I win a debate with a leftist? The last thing they say to me is "fuck you."
yeah, yeah. And I'm
I know
not
I
really
won.
a
I won.
Republican.
I won. Yeah.
You know, I'm not a Republican. I'm a libertarian, right? I mean, I was part of Gary Johnson's campaign the first time he ran for president in a big way. I went and distributed signs. I went door to door, knocked on people's doors. I was much more into politics back then. But I usually do vote Republican for most things because they most closely align with most of my views.
Right. Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah. I found that a lot of libertarians tend to lean to the conservative side. In my experience, I
we
I
do.
personally, forever and ever and ever, have always sat right in the center. You never know which way I could go. But
Yeah,
I,
then the left went crazy and they shot off further left,
yeah.
and I'm like, no, no, dude,
for years,
I can't do that.
I always said I was socially liberal and financially conservative because I say live how you want to live, but get the fuck out of my back pocket. I'm not paying for bullshit because we all know the federal government don't know how to spend your money because when they just can take it from you, they have no respect with what they do with it. And all they do is buy votes with it. So they take my money and buy votes from people I don't agree with. and buy their vote. That's what I hate about it. So I used to call myself socially liberal and financially conservative. Saying that, I've gone more hardcore, I guess, as I gotten older. But I have the problem. I'm not. I don't even want to call myself a Republican no more. I say it all the time. I'm not Republican. I'm the same thing the president is. You think the president's really Republican? You got another thing coming.
Yeah.
Is he MAGA? Fuck yeah, he is. The new movement is MAGA. It's not Republican. It's not Democrat. MAGA is
America first.
it's people talk about the Tea Party and they destroyed the Tea Party. It started out strong and withered away. MAGA's a little bit different. MAGA has a large number of a portion of the population that is MAGA, but not Republican and not Democrat. So it's a completely new political party. They haven't figured that out yet, but it is. You can say you're MAGA and vote Republican because you don't want to have usually a third party never wins. But if MAGA went third party, it'd be the strongest third party in the history of the country. And it'd be a possibility that the next MAGA candidate will win.
Yeah.
Just, that's just personal opinion.
I just have to look at, the main political thing for me is guns. If they're like Joe Biden's like, we're going to do away with the AR-15, it's like, no way I'm voting for that guy.
We're coming for your guns.
Guns are really a big part of my life. I mean, I own over 100 guns. I shoot regularly. I own, old World War II relic rifles, all the way up to new modern SBRs and legal stuff I bought tax stamps for. So, I'd say the next biggest thing is, do they like to spend money like a drunken sailor? And anymore, they're not really spending our money. They're just printing the money, and they're making our money worth less.
They're spending our great grandchildren's money.
Yeah, everything is doubled in price, lately compared to what I used to pay for. But my pay sure hasn't doubled.
Tom, I just got a part-time job, and they're willing to work with my disability. Which a hard thing to do is to find a job that will work. Basically, they hired me for it's going to be funny when I say this, because my job is not really that important at the place, but they hired me for my knowledge and my mind.
Yeah.
They really, every conversation I've had with all the people who work there, they are so impressed with how much stuff I know that has something to do with the job that I have. And the boss there says that she can learn something from me. So, so I'm glad they're working with me, but I did not want to go back to work. It sucks. I haven't worked in years. My body's gotten worse, and boy, am I feeling it. My body's hurting like crazy this week. I've worked 2 days, and I'm getting ready to work 4 days straight starting tomorrow. But the thing is because of pricing. I've been trying to get a job for a couple months now, and it's because of Biden's economics, not because Trump's in office now, because prices are coming down. But the problem is, I'm still broke, and that 2.5% raise they gave everybody for security and disability and stuff in January, it threw my income level over the amount that I'm allowed to get assistance, like with my insurance and stuff. Now, before, I paid for my insurance anyway. I paid the $200 a month for the Medicare thing. But then I had a little extra I had to pay for because nobody here takes Medicare when you're trying to get something done. So you have to get a secondary insurance, and you have to pay for it. But I had, pharmacy assistance, I had copay assistance, stuff like that. Now I have nothing. I went from paying little less than $60 a month for my pharmacy prescription to paying $400 out of pocket now.
Yeah.
And all I got was a 2.5% raise. That little raise, not only did I get no money, I got money added, but it took it right away. And then it put me $40 in the hole. So I'm paying everything I was paying before plus $40 less. is more is coming out of my pocket than what I was getting with the assistance. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I
I'm
don't
not.
know how. Luckily, I mean, I have a pretty good day job. I'm a network engineer. I have been for 30 years, right? So I get paid pretty well there. And I own my house free and clear. I own all my cars. I mean,
I
I
do
don't have a
too.
bunch of debt. But if I did have a bunch of debt, I don't know. I don't know how people who have big house payments are making it right now.
Yeah, I own my house. I don't have a house payment. I don't have a car payment, but I support 4 people. I have 5 cars. And they told me I could get Medicaid if I sold all my cars because my cars are worth too much. I refuse to do it. So you know what I mean? It's like I'm not gonna get something. You have to get rid of something to get something. So
Yeah,
and they treated me horribly. I went through a lot of my because I used to have 5 houses, so I had to sell houses to survive while I was trying to get my disability because I could no longer work no more at the time because I did. They're still trying to figure out what was wrong with me, and I was just like, God damn! And all the jobs that I knew how to do, I couldn't do no more because I couldn't physically do it.
yeah,
So I went through a lot of. I got 2 homes left. I got one house that my granddaughter lives in, and the house I live in. So I've gotten down to that, and they wanted to take even more away from me. That's when you work all these years, and disability is not something you strive for. You know what I mean? It's
No.
something. No, because I got taken out of the workforce way earlier than I wanted to.
yeah,
I thought I'd work till I was 70 or 80 because I really liked the jobs that I had. I didn't want to quit. I wasn't like one of those guys that says, I can't wait till retirement. Hell no. I figure I'd just go on better vacations the older I got. I never really wanted to
Right.
retire. And then here we go. All of a sudden I can't stand very long. I can't walk very long. All of a sudden I get these pains in my joints, and it's just like then all of a sudden I get dizzy for no reason, and then I've passed out for no reason. You know what I mean? And it depends on which way I move my body. I'll drop like a ton of bricks. Now I've learned how to not do that, uh, and it's helped out a lot. And a lot of medication has helped out a lot. But I take 9 different prescriptions, guys. I take 21 pills a day.
yeah,
I get tired of that, but that's what I'm saying. I did not strive to be on disability. So it pissed me off how much they want me to get rid of just to be able to get this stuff. They would much rather have me had nothing and sleep on a family member's couch till they, approved my disability. Fortunately, I got approved before that happened, but they still, you're not gonna get nothing out of life from being on disability. That's why I called my YouTube channel "Empty Pockets Garage" because I literally went from making 31.75 an hour to having nothing.
yeah,
I was living on my investment, and that wasn't enough at the time because I was paying out of pocket. I didn't have health insurance or nothing at the time
yeah,
because once you can't work no more, you don't get that health insurance. So you have to buy it or I just paid as I went. It was cheaper to pay as I went than it was to get on Obamacare or something. So I spent a ton of money trying to get my shit diagnosed. And here we are talking
healthcare is
politics on Rumble.
unbelievably expensive. When I had my stroke, I had a double stroke in my cerebellum and my midbrain, and I was in the intensive care unit for 3 days. I got to the hospital really fast. I got the clot buster on board really fast. And 3 months later, I made pretty much a full recovery. There's still some things that are a little weird, but $110,000 for 3 days in the hospital. And my
Damn.
insurance company did not pay for all of that. I'm supposed to have a $5,000 maximum out of pocket. I still have $14,000 left to pay them 18 months later. you know,
Yeah, and that's and people don't get it. The younger people don't get it. I don't like owing anybody anything. So yeah, I'm like you. I was in the hospital. Uh, One time it was with insurance. The second time it was without. And when I got the bill, I like, you got to be kidding me.
Mhm.
And I paid it off because I don't. These younger people don't think they have to pay anything. They figure, healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. I don't expect anybody else to pay for me to be healthy. That's my problem. That's how I see it. If I get a bill, I get a bill. But our bills are so expensive because of the way they price healthcare in this country. These insurance companies make all these deals, and then these medical facilities try to make up for what they lose dealing with the healthcare companies. That somebody that's paying cash has to pay triple what it's really supposed to cost. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, and
Mhm.
if I had hit a point where, luckily, I had a short-term disability at work, so they kept paying me. But if I had hit a point where I couldn't have went back to work, if my stroke had been worse, I don't know where the heck I'd be.
Right. Right.
You know, uh, luckily, I was able to go back to work, and I'm able to fix cars on the side and make a little extra money to pay the hospital. You
Tom,
know,
you'd probably be right where I'm at right now because you own your home, I own my home. You don't have a car payment, I don't have a car payment. Now I do, I have, there's there's three other people in my household that I take care of. So, and mine's the only income. So my disability pays for a family of four, which that's not how they rate that. They rate the disability to pay for you and you only.
yeah,
So that's what makes it rough on me.
Yep.
That's why had to go back to work. I got to make ends meet. I don't like being broke. I don't like at the end of my month before I get my next disability check that I have like less than $40 in the bank and I got to worry nothing happens. Like when that last 4 or
That's what I
5
got
days.
right now.
You know what I'm saying? Then you sit there and you worry. I hope nothing happens. Anything happens is outside the ordinary. I'm fucked. If nothing
Yeah.
happens, I'm good. But if something happens, I'm fucked. So that nervousness
Yep.
is something that is very uncomfortable for me. So I have to do something to throw a little cushion in there that puts me back to feeling comfortable again.
yeah, yeah. Oh
Plus,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'd like to take another vacation or two before I die. But right now, I can't do it. My vacation. You know what? I say this all the time, and Tom, if you feel like hanging out, every Saturday night, I'm on Rumble with Killer Carl. Now he has thousands of followers. He's what got me started into this. He found me through my video about the Haitians. He
He
contacted
helped
me
me a lot.
personally, and so I'm on his live stream every Saturday night at 8 o'clock, and we start talking about politics, and then we start cracking on each other. And the producer of the radio show that he's part of, his name's Tyler. He gets on there sometimes, and boy, do we like to tear that boy up. But it's funny as shit. It's my favorite thing of the week. I cannot wait to get on. And like Carl, he didn't do it this last Saturday because he had something come up. I was so disappointed. I was ready to do. I had some zingers in my head that I was going to fire off to Tyler if he's going to be on there. I was like, oh, I got him. And it's all about gay jokes, by the way.
Tries to shoot back.
Yeah, it's about gay
Yeah,
jokes.
Tyler tries to shoot back.
He tries. Doesn't do a very good job at it. No matter what, Tyler's a good dude, but he's always going to be remembered as a cocksucker. Now, that's all I'm saying. And he's got a wife and kids, but on our show, he's gay. He's gay Tyler. That's all you need to know. But it's funny if you want to jump in and hang out and watch it, or if you, I'm telling you, Carl loves to have guests on, so Carl would be more than happy to shoot you a link, and you could get up there and throw down with us too. And Big Tony's on there a lot.
Now realize that James on Killer Carl's show is the Haitian pimp. So
Right. Every pregnant Haitian woman in Springfield apparently is my baby, according to Carl. Yeah, so I am the Haitian pimp. Like I said, Tyler is gay Tyler. I'm the Haitian pimp, and Carl is Killer Carl. And we are grown adolescents at its highest point. But like I said, but we do have serious conversations. And politics or whatever. Whatever's happening, it don't always. I mean, everything is downstream from politics. So no matter what, there is some political leaning to everything that we talk about. But we could be talking about something that's just about manufacturing or whatever, which there's politics involved in that now. Everything in this country, there's politics involved in everything. Everything is seen through a blue or red lens anymore. It's not just American. Y'all remember when 9/11 happened? We were American. I'm afraid if we had a new
Right.
9/11, we wouldn't be Americans. We wouldn't come together like it happened. It wouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
Everybody that
Right.
one group of people would say, "Well, we deserved it." The other group of people would say, "Let's go fuck them motherfuckers up." You know what I mean? So
You'd have a
that's the
group
way
of
I
people
think.
that saying
Yeah.
Elon Musk did it too. Yeah.
Elon Musk. You know what?
Well,
Elon Musk.
Some
Some of the best inventions that's happened in America in the recent years is not done by a born American. It's done by a naturalized citizen. Sorry, Elon Musk from South Africa.
Yeah.
And did you
yeah,
see
he's an
him?
actual African American.
Yeah, he is true African American. That is true. And did you see him in the Oval Office when they had the South African president in there? He did not have a happy look on his face. He did not. And everybody called that an ambush. I called that up and coming. You just got your up and coming
Right.
South African president. You're sitting there and talking. If the president will listen, if the president will listen, like they're listen to their point of view. If the president needs to listen, the president, like, whoa, I got something. Wait a minute, whoa. Somebody dim the lights and go. And all the shit hit the fan from that point on. Yeah. What do you guys say about that?
Right.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And because the left, the Democrats,
But yeah,
go ahead.
to your point about patriotism, I remember, and I don't know about y'all. Y'all might remember. It hadn't in the big picture. It hadn't really been that long ago. I remember a time when both Republican and Democrat were both patriotic. They were both wanted the greatness of America. They just had different views on how to get there.
Yeah.
One side had a good idea, the other one had a shit idea. So
True.
But I mean, they were both trying to further America. It hadn't really been that long ago, and yet here we are. One side is trying to destroy America, literally, and the other's trying to save it.
I can give you the exact time when it started to change. And I can tell you this, and you may not agree with me, but when Bill Clinton was elected president and the Clintons were in the office, and I don't mean Bill himself, Hillary was part of the problem that we're having today because she believed in the way of life that they're trying to promote today. Not necessarily Bill, but Hillary did. Because Hillary learned this when she was in college back in the late 60s, early 70s. Sal Alinsky, I think was the name, where talked about people had human rights for this and rights for that. Like, if you're hungry, you have the right to eat. If somebody owns a restaurant and you're hungry, you go in there and you ask for food for free. If you don't have the money, you have the right to eat their food. They don't have the right to charge you because they're well off and you're not. That was the mindset that started this whole thing about the haves and have-nots. About if you're well off, you're hated. If you feel like you don't have anything, then you're oppressed. You're a personal victim of every goddamn thing in the world. Everything, you're a victim on everything instead of taking personal responsibility. But it started with the Clintons. And then, because think about this, it was the Clintons when NAFTA was signed. And NAFTA destroyed the manufacturing in this country. And then in 2003, when they allowed China to sign up to the World Trade Organization, it accelerated, like turbocharged everything. So it started. I mean, I'm sure there was some elements in our government before that, but it started with the Clintons. And people say, well, that's just been since the 90s. Well, fuck, what year do you think it is now? It's 2025. So from like 1992 till now, that's a plenty of time to do what they've done. You know, I don't know. You guys, whatever y'all's opinion, Tom, what's your opinion on that?
I don't know. I think the left is just they've gone from a way of trying to help America in a different way. You know, the big evil corporations make them pay the poor man more, this kind of thing, and they've just really gone just way out there. And
Right, to where America is
trying to,
illegitimate because we were started under, uh, we stole everything. The thing is everybody fights through history.
yeah,
Somebody has conquered somebody. Indians conquered Indians. That's what they don't seem to remember. You know what I mean? Mexicans and Indians fought. Indians and Indians fought. The only difference is we had better weapons, so we won. That's our crime. We won. Now, did we treat the Indians shitty after we took over? I'm not going to disagree. But did they get something? They got land that we don't control. They control their own shit. You know what I mean? They offered that to them. They got it. They still have it. And then the deal with bringing the slaves over here. I tell this story all the time. If you give me just a second, I'll explain why. I have a problem with the reparations thing. First, let me ask y'all's opinion. First, Big T, what's your opinion on reparations?
I don't think there should be any reparation. I never owned any slaves.
Yeah, I mean,
Who's going to pay it to? And he pays it.
What's that, Big T?
Yeah, who are you going to pay it to, and who pays it?
Exactly. It's too hard to figure out who deserves it, if anybody.
There were never slaves.
The thing is the country. They always say that this country was built on the back of slaves. That's not true. Was there a portion of the income?
No, they actually didn't build anything.
Right. It was still the 13 colonies at the time, basically, when slavery was in play. The thing is we was not a country yet, not even close to being a country from sea to shining sea. And the thing is, 5% of the population, and not all white, by the way, there were black slave owners. There were people in the North who were black, free blacks who owned slaves. The people, we didn't go over and knock them over the fucking head. Their own people captured themselves because they fought amongst each other just like everybody else does, and they fought and won over the weaker clans or whatever you want to call them, and sold them to the slave traders or traders or whatever. So, for all that shit about slave traders went over there and knocked them over the head and stolen bullshit. But the thing is, less than 5% of the country owned slaves. And then from that point on, what happened? 315,000 Northern soldiers, mostly white, fought to free them slaves. So you have that. They always tend to forget about the white part of the story. It's like when they talk about the civil rights in the 60s. They always forget about to talk about all the white people that was in those marches with them. It was always they marched for their own freedom and they got it. You know what I mean? The equality, they got it. They did it. No, they didn't. They would have never got any of that if 100% of the white people would have said no. So they didn't win their own freedom. They didn't win their own equal rights. It took white people who understood that shit was wrong and fought with them and for them to get what they got.
Well,
Go ahead, Tony.
Now, answer me this. What political party created the KKK?
The Democrats.
Democrats.
Yeah.
What political party voted 100% against every civil rights legislation since then?
Democrats.
Oh. The Democrats. What political party 100% supported all the civil rights legislation ever since then? Republicans. Now,
Republicans.
which
Yeah,
party is the bad one?
yeah, but see the messaging. They convinced them. They drank the Kool Aid. Democrats are very good at convincing you
Mhm.
that basically with Trump being in office, it's basically orange man bad, so blue good, red bad, and they try to act like the Republicans because at one time there were more rich Republicans than rich Democrats. Well, that has flipped, but they don't tell you that story anymore. They still tell you the rich Republicans are out trying to, keep the wages down and keep the black man down, and they only want white people working for 'em. They've done very good at their messaging. Well, with this alternative media, basically mainstream media is dead. The few people that do drink the Kool-Aid still watch those outlets, but everybody else finds their stuff on YouTube and Rumble and X, and they start to see the truth. So that's, in my
Right.
opinion, that's the only reason Trump won the second time, because alternative media has
Yeah.
overtaken mainstream media, and people, like I tell
Yeah.
people all the time.
You brought up something.
Go ahead, Tony.
You brought up something. The way that the Democrats, the left, um, they have their message, and the way they work in lockstep together to put that message out. That brings up what I keep screaming on my channel. What you I know have heard me say on Killer Carl's channel is that as conservatives, we have got to take pages out of their playbook. We've got to learn how to do
Yeah.
what they do.
Oh
Just do it
yeah,
for our cause.
do it
Okay.
better.
We've got to learn to vote in lockstep. We've got to learn to get that message out. We've got to learn to do all the stuff that they do,
We got to learn to
but for our
protest.
cause.
We have to learn to protest. They protest now. A
Oh
lot of
yeah,
their
most
protests
definitely.
are paid for. We know that, and I know, and I say it all the time. Republicans don't
Yeah, they
protest
already
because
admitted that.
they're working. You know what I mean? That's why protesters
Well,
are not
Republicans use
Republicans,
the law.
because they go out and go to work every day, so they don't have time to protest. These other people who are not working get paid to
Well,
go
the
protest on the
Republican,
left. But we got to
right? The
some days off
Republican
from work
Party,
to go protest.
cons- right?
Okay.
The Republican Party consistently has always used the law. Now, the Democrats use that old saying that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. The loudest mouth gets the attention,
Oh yeah.
right? But Republicans have always used the law. They've always tried to use legal means to to get where they want to be. And the Democrats, they scream and create public outcry. We've got to start doing that. Got to start being the loudest mouth out there. We've got to be the squeakiest wheel. We've got to take pages out of their playbook and use them against them.
Well, what the Democrats were good at is they play a long game, just like the Chinese. So we look at things at 4 years at a
Mhm.
time. They look at things as a decade at a time, basically. So they've spent years and using people like George Soros's money, placing not just judges and prosecutors and local mayors and governors. You can't call them Democrats no more. I call them activists. They placed these activists in these places and offered them a way of life that they wouldn't have had if they hadn't went to that side. And so they use lawfare against us now. So we can't even trust the law system, the justice system anymore. We can't trust it. So we're like
Right.
renegades, basically.
And you, yeah, yeah, and you've all both, and me too as well. Everybody has just seen, literally, just seen what you just said. Um, because it was admitted that the Democratic Party installed every single one of these activist judges that are putting the everything on Trump administration. They're trying to stop Putin. Everything along is on purpose. Biden and Harris team. I think that back, except for I think two were Obama placements. The rest were Biden placements, and they did that on purpose because they knew that Trump would end up backing off herself.
You think they knew that he'd end up back in office? Really?
Yeah, I think at the end they knew that he was going to win. They were trying everything they could to say, "Oh, Kamala's points are up,
Yes.
winning."
Oh, yeah.
He would have done better than Kamala.
Yeah.
But they didn't have a viable candidate. They knew good. They knew good and well that that Trump was going to get back in.
See, what I think has happened is the Democrats has overplayed their cards. They, instead of going right up to the edge of the ledge, they jumped off the ledge. And what they've done is I mean, I say it all the time. Sometimes I think it's a good thing that Trump did not win in 2020 because we got a better president out of it. And we went through 4 years of what stupidity really looks like when it's in charge. And if we do it right, a Democrat will not win for a very, very, very long time if we learn from them to win the midterms in the next 4 years.
Right. As it stands, unless we really, really screw up, they're not going to win an election anytime soon. But the thing is,
midterms are different though, man.
They're using. Well, yeah, they can be weird, but here's the thing. They're playing the same game this time around in this Trump administration as they did in the first Trump administration. You know, those impeachments.
They didn't learn nothing. They didn't learn anything.
Right. Those impeachments, they knew they weren't going to win those impeachments. They knew all they were trying to do was tie Trump up and his administration. Take the time up so he couldn't get anything done. Right now, these judges that they installed, they know they're not going to win, but they're tying his time up. They're tying the administration up.
But every constitutionalist has said that I've seen, every law person, constitutionalist that I've heard talk, said that Trump can ignore all those judges. He has the executive branch. He can ignore every one of them until it gets to the Supreme Court, and that's when it really means something. So all these other judges, well, I know he can ignore the Supreme Court, but
there is absolutely no law that states that Trump has to pay any attention to any of these judges, including the Supreme Court, and there is precedent for presidents ignoring the Supreme Court. Biden just did it multiple times. Obama did it. Everybody before Trump has done it.
They do it if they're doing it because it's an agenda I want, so it's okay. When it's an agenda they don't want, then all of a sudden it's the executive branch overstepping its authority. But Biden ignored it a few times.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tom? We just keep talking, brother. I want to hear your opinion.
I mean, I think the left, if you want to have the biggest house in the neighborhood, you can work hard, you can build a bigger house, or you can go through the neighborhood and tear all the bigger houses down so that you have the biggest house. And that's what we're seeing from the left, is they're not focused on finding a good candidate, changing their policies, doing good things. They're just focused on, let's tear down this candidate. And I don't think that strategy is going to work well in the long term.
Long term, no. It's actually going to hurt them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Y'all know it just happened. Yeah, it's rumbling, baby. Now look, Tony, you're the big dog. You're the big dog.
Yep, I'm in the
But
big box.
you know what, Tom? That's good. That's a good analogy. You want the biggest house, tear down the bigger houses, which is the wrong way to do it, but it's the only way they know how to do it. So
Yeah.
I've never heard it said that way, but that's a good analogy. I like that.
Really good, dude.
I may steal that another day in another life
Right?
experience. Yeah, I tell
You don't
you.
have a copyright on that.
Nah.
Copyright claim.
Got a copyright claim. What the fuck? But yeah, the last part on we were talking about reparations. This what started this conversation. And see how we just jump around, Tom? It
Yeah.
just happens.
Right?
The people that watch us apparently think it's good conversation because they keep tuning in, which is a good thing. I like that. But anyways, what I was getting at on reparations about who deserve who if it was to happen, who are they going to force to pay it? Because I'm telling you right now, they're not going to force me to pay it. You know why? Because my mother did the genealogy thing. My roots is traced all the way back to where we come from in Austria. So we were like German basically because we were in Austria. But they speak German in Austria. I have a town named after my last name. That's my original home in history is in Austria, where I can go back home to a town that is named after my last name. Because everybody thinks my last name, because I'm not going to say it, but there's this part of it that's dropped off, and a lot of people like to add that part to it. I said, well, no, that's not my last name. But there's a German ending to my last name that was dropped off when my ancestors they landed in America in South Carolina. The last year of the Civil War is when they landed. Okay, they worked themselves. He worked themselves. My ancestors worked their way up through South Carolina and ended up into Virginia, bordering Kentucky. See, he dropped off. It's Rumble Studio. So while through the years, my great great grandfather uh, worked the fields, working up from South Carolina up into Virginia. Well, he worked the fields with a former slave. They were freed at the time, but they become best friends. Now, my middle name is my great grandfather's name, which my great grandfather was named after my great great grandfather's best friend, which was a former slave. So my first name is my grandfather's name, and my second name, my middle name, is my great grandfather's first name. So I have a slave name. So who pays reparations? My great great grandfather worked in the fields right
Well,
along with, you know what I mean? And he wasn't here. He was not here when slavery had started, and they showed up here at the end when they were freed. So my family should not have to pay shit
I've
because. Go ahead, Tom.
right? And what
had,
about people like myself?
Go ahead. Let Tom.
Oh,
Go ahead, Tom. I'm
go ahead,
sorry.
Tom.
Then
I've
Tony, you
had
go
this
ahead.
this conversation with some people, and it always starts out well. So you think you deserve reparations because your ancestors were here as slaves, and yeah, everybody wants free money. I'll take some free money if the government's going to hand it out. And so I say, um, okay, so do I own any slaves? Have I ever owned any slaves? Well, no, you haven't, but maybe your ancestors did. Well, let's just say maybe they did. I know that they didn't, but maybe they did. Okay, but I don't currently have any slaves, so who am I going to pay this money to? I'm going to pay it to you. Have you ever been a slave? Are you currently a slave? So why am I going to give you money for something that you haven't experienced? If I don't get a slave today to come cut my grass and do my garden and clean my house, then I'm not benefiting of it. I haven't benefited from it in any way. and you're not a slave. So why am I going to give you money? It's time to put this aside and move forward. you know.
Right. Right. And then what about people like myself? Like you, I did the DNA thing, and I found out that the top three in my DNA is Irish, Cherokee, and Congolese. That's
Oh,
African.
so you're a black man.
So I mean,
So you're black.
I mean, I'm
You got a big
descended
dick.
from Africa.
I actually have a book
Uh,
from my father's side of the family that documents all the way back to the first three brothers that came to America, and the first two brothers were coming here on the Speedwell, and I think they transferred to the Mayflower or something because the Speedwell sank or something. I don't know, but they came in here on the Mayflower,
So you've
and
been here
then
since the
those two
beginning.
brothers died the first year, and then the third brother came over, and there's a copy in the book of the original land grant from King, whoever the king of England was, King James or something, and it's from this cherry tree to this bush, and it's the original land grant that they had, and I can follow my family tree clear through that, and nobody was slave owners.
See, my family didn't own any land till the 1800s, late 1800s, like 1885, I think it was, and that's when uh, that they actually started, you know, gaining any kind of, I guess I wouldn't call it wealth, but owning land, having certain amount of property, horses, blah blah blah, whatever. But before that, they had nothing. They worked the fields. That's what they did. So I refuse. If that was to ever come across as a law that we'd have to pay reparations, I refuse, and I would go to Supreme Court and explain why I don't have to pay it, because I can show you that if you're going to make people pay who actually benefited from that. All of America did not benefit from that. And they talk about, well, America was built on the back. That was getting to my first part of that story. You know when America actually became America? Back when we were finally sea to shining sea and the revolution kicked in. That's what made America, the Industrial Revolution, not the cotton fields during the first 13 colonies. Bullshit. They were not. America was not built on the backs of slaves. It's a ridiculous thing to say, and I'll argue anybody who tries to tell me different. What do you think, Tony?
yeah, the slaves didn't build anything. They claim, America was built on the backs of slaves.
Well, they
No,
claim
they didn't build anything.
the wealth of America was created by slaves. That's not true either. But I'm just saying that's what they say.
Well, they would have had that wealth anyway, because if we didn't have the slaves, then people would be out there harvesting the cotton. White people would be gaining that wealth
Irish
still.
people would be in
I
them
mean,
fields. But
and,
the
and it
Irish
would.
people was white slaves back in the day. They would be doing the fields, the Irish people. So you'd be in the fields,
Yes, they were.
Tony. You'd be in the fields, brother. You're
Irish
Irish.
people were as yep, that's right. That's right. Irish people were actually treated worse than black people as slaves. Did you know you could get an Irishman as a slave cheaper than you could get a black man as a slave?
Oh yeah,
That's a fact.
they literally when Irish
You know,
landed here, they were
they
told
would
they're not allowed to
discount
work
the
here.
Irish because they were white.
Yeah, they were told they were not allowed to work. They were considered scum, savages. I don't get that. I didn't know
Yep.
what made Irish people so bad back then but I do know they were treated that way. It, you know, remember that what was it, the 5 points of New York, and they controlled everything. And if you were Irish,
Hmm.
if you didn't do exactly what they wanted, you starved. You were thrown out on your ass, and you were
Yep.
blackballed from anything. Irish people were treated horribly. Uh, I don't know where do you descend from,
Oh
Tony?
yeah. Yeah.
Like me, like
Yeah, yeah.
well, I mean, we
Your
came
family.
um, from my dad's side of the family. We came from England, but we weren't like we came from somewhere in Europe, and then to England, then to here. My mom's side of the family, I can trace it back to one relative who came over here and was a British soldier during the Revolutionary War. And he switched sides and fought for America, and then he stayed here and opened a store after the war was over.
Good man. Good
So,
man. See,
So you're English.
yeah, yeah.
patriotism needs to come back to America. You know, one of my biggest pet
Right?
peeves is people can protest. They can do their First Amendment rights as they go way beyond that, but they can do their First Amendment rights. But I hate to say this, I think there needs to be a law because, and I'll say this, them burning the American flag, because the American flag to me has a lot of cost to having that flag. There's a lot of people who died, and that flag was so important to them when they were killed that they were willing to die for it. So to me, you can disrespect me all you want, but don't disrespect the flag, because if you really had a problem with the flag and where you live, fucking move. Don't bitch about it. Move.
They're
I mean, look, all the rest of the world wants to come
actually
here because they don't like their home. Go ahead. Go ahead, Tony.
yeah, there actually is a law on the books. There actually is a law on the books. But not too long ago the Supreme Court struck it down. I mean, there is a law on the books. It up until not too long ago, it was a felony to deface the American flag, to burn it, trample upon it, any of that stuff. Actually, the law even states that you can't even wear clothes depicting the American flag.
Yep.
Okay, but the Supreme Court struck it down.
See, I don't mind you wearing, artwork that looks like the flag, but if it is the actual flag, no matter what size it is, it's being presented on a flag post of whether you can hold it in your hand or you got to hoist it up with a chain. It's the American flag at that point. It becomes its own symbol. Now, saying that, like I said, I am so adamant about it that uh, if I was within proximity of somebody doing that, I would literally beat the shit out of them with the cane I'm walking with and go to jail over it, because I think about it that much. I'm so harsh as far as my emotional feeling about that I would become a criminal to protect the American flag, and I have no problem with that. It just disgusts me so much to see them burn the flag and then make fun of it, laugh about it, and get all shocked when somebody wants to snatch it out of their hand or whatever, or stomp it out, and they're all like, they
Right?
get all apoplectic. But then the law comes in and tells that person that they have the right to do that. I didn't know you had the right just to burn stuff in the middle of
Mhm.
town. I mean, usually you'd get a ticket for that, but they don't. It's okay if you're protesting. If you're protesting, you're allowed to do so many things that you normally ain't allowed to do. But it's just dumb.
Right?
It's crazy. But that's my point of view on the flag.
Right?
Have your First Amendment rights, but we need to start protesting like they protest. We need to learn from their playbook and do it better.
Yep.
That's the thing. You taught us well, people. You whooped the
Right.
shit out of us in 2020. We should never allow that ass whooping to happen again. And if it wasn't for alternative media, President Trump would not be president today, because mainstream media would still hold the narrative, and they're losing the grip on most of the country, but there's still people drinking the fucking Kool-Aid. You probably don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I tell people,
Mostly.
go ahead, Tony.
Yeah. Mostly those people. Those people are the boomer class. The boomer generation.
I'm considered
The
the boomer
majority
generation.
of
My mother was considered the boomer generation. I'm in the same generation because of the last year of it is the year I was born. And I think I don't consider
uh,
myself being a baby boomer whatsoever. I have not me. I mean, it's completely different
Nah,
people.
right,
So yeah, I hate that which generation it is, but all I do know you
right,
have to
right.
use the cutoff somewhere.
You're right there on the edge of it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like when
Yeah, you're right there. The last tail end edge. So
it's like the tariffs. When the tariffs were first being brought out and the stock market was doing a plummet, and everybody talks about Trump gets in office to enrich himself and all of his rich buddies. I'm afraid when the stock market plummeted, that ain't his rich buddies saying, "Yoo-hoo, you're doing exactly what we wanted." No, that's the rich punishing Trump, saying, "You fuck with us, we fuck with you. You make us uh, lose money. We'll fuck with you and show you these people, your 401ks and all these people who work for a living is going to lose money because the stock market's dropping. We'll survive because we're still rich." But those people are expecting for that retirement at 401k. So I used to tell the baby boomers, the people who are retiring, uh, don't get so fucking mad about it. Don't get so scared about it. Take a fucking breath. Guaranteed the stock market will come back up. Guarantee
I
it.
love it when the stock market goes down. That's when I buy.
Exactly. But you know, when you're
I
ready to
mean, I,
retire,
I literally,
I love selling.
when you're ready to retire and that money's there and you're expecting, okay, here's what I'm worth today, stock market
oh
drop.
yeah,
Oh,
you need
here's
to
what
start.
I'm worth now. What I told him is, if you're ready to retire today, put it off for a month. And I just literally said a month because I said within a month, guess what's going to happen? It's going to creep back up. And what did it do? It went right back up to almost the exact same numbers it was before it happened. I told him it's we the people, not I the people. So you baby boomers are ready to retire. Shut the fuck up because this is a bigger fucking thing than just you retiring with the right amount of money.
When the whole scamdemic happened and the stock market like crashed and bottomed out, and everybody's running around like the sky is falling, and they're like all trying to sell and move their investments to safer investments and all this other stuff. I'm like, I got some extra money. I'm buying. I'm buying. By the time that all recovered and came back, like 3 years later, I sold it and I had enough to buy my wife's car and pay cash for it.
Yeah.
You know,
You, you know what I buy
you put
now?
money in when it's going down, and then back off and don't put as much in when it's doing good. It's like but the stock market is so emotional for people because they're like, oh, it's doing. But everybody that says, oh, I lost all my money in the stock market, that's because they panicked because it went down and they sold it all, and then it went back up.
Yep.
When they should have said, oh, it went down, I'm going to put a little extra in.
See,
I'm going
what
Right.
kind of
When
what
it
to.
kind
went
of
down,
go ahead, Tony.
if you paid attention, all the experts, the smart ones, including Donald Trump, he actually said it on Truth Social.
Oh,
Buy it now,
yeah,
back up.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna buy. Yeah, that's what he said.
I
He
mean,
told us it's a
all
good
the
time
I
to
mean, all
buy
the real
people.
experts like Kevin O'Leary.
Oh yeah. The the thing is what kind of a financial genius are you if if you're so queasy that when the stock market does a plummet, what they call it black, they usually call it Black Monday or whatever, uh, and you get so scared and intimidated that you're willing to lose money on your investment and sell because it plummets. It plummets for something that is a reaction to a political deal, basically, is what it was. We all know that none of that shit's ever permanent, ever.
Right.
So if you're so dumb that you're in the stock market, and you don't know that, you deserve to lose your money, you idiot. Stock market is a long-term game. It's like when you put your money in the bank, it takes years for it to actually be of any value. It's like
I
when you buy
remember.
IRA, you have to wait 5 years before you get anything out of it. It is a long-term game. If you're in it, you think you're going to buy stocks today and 6 months later sell it and be super rich. You're a fucking moron. You deserve to lose your money,
In
idiot.
1999, I got a big bonus where I was working at the time because we did a job.
Is that what
And
you called it?
yeah, well, me and another network engineer decided we were gonna buy a stock, and I think a couple other engineers did too. And I bought stock in Excite.com. I don't know if you remember that search engine
I do.
from way back in the day. And
Yep.
somebody else bought stock in Novell, and somebody else bought stock in this stupid little search engine that just had letters called Google. He's retired now for the last 20 years living in Florida.
Yeah, I mean it's all about what takes. You got that's where the risk is. You know,
Yeah.
when they talk about uh, throwing super large amounts of taxes on people who invest money and then get capital gains from that or whatever, and then they want to charge them an exuberant amount of taxes for it, but yet they don't they don't give them any tax break if they lose that money, only if they win the game of picking the right stock. You forget that that person's risking their personal income to
Yeah.
invest in something, and if they lose, they're out. They're just completely out of it. They gotta try to make up for it somehow. But yet, if he or she gains and becomes rich over it because they they figured out which one to pick. They picked the winner, and then all of a sudden, these people have to pay an exuberant amount of taxes for it because they they were smart enough or lucky enough to get what it takes to earn that income. I think an income should be an income. A tax should be a. I'm into the flat tax. I don't know about you guys. I believe flat taxes would get us out of debt. To be
Yeah,
honest
but
with you.
all the CPAs will lose their job and all the tax people will lose their job. It's never going to happen.
Just like they told the coal miners and shit, you can go and learn how to
You need to
code.
learn to
Go code. You lose your job. Go learn how to work on
right.
computers.
Learn to
Go
code.
code.
Like,
Yeah.
if you invent the cure for cancer, you're going to end up dead before anybody finds out about it because all of the money that's made off of treating cancer.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
money's made off of keeping you sick, not making you well.
Yep.
You,
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
that's why I get so tired of taking
Right.
medication. And I'm getting ready. There's a guy
yeah,
that is
Joe.
on Killer Carl's show on Friday night. Sometimes I'm on Fridays. I'm on every
Okay.
Tuesday with Killer Carl and every Saturday with Killer Carl, and sometimes on Friday. But he has a gentleman on there, Dr. Jacob, and he's into the holistic medicine and a lot of stuff that he uh, recommended to Carl. Carl lays floor for a living. That's what he's done. He's getting ready. He's getting ready to start a radio show network. He started a radio network. I'm getting ready to be part of it. I don't, Tony, you're going to be part of it. I'm going to do a radio show in the
I
morning.
told him I would if I can.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah, I
going to be
told him
on.
I would if I
I'm going to
could.
have my own radio show in the morning. It's going to be a call-in show. And but anyways, he's laid floors all of his life, so that tells you what kind of pain his body's in. And this doctor, this holistic guy, has give him recommendations of certain things to take. And my God, he talks about it every week. How much better he feels, how much better his joints feel, how much energy he has, and he talks about these products. And matter of fact, if I'm a poor guy, he's going to send me the blue dye, or the that's what it's called, I think,
Oh
isn't
yeah,
it?
the methylene blue.
Methylene blue, right? So
Yeah, methylene blue.
he's going to send me a free sample of it to try and see if it does do something for me. Because I told him, I said, man, if I already thought that stuff would work, I would save and invest my money in it, but I can't afford to invest in something I'm not sure of. And so he's going to send me all these products to try that
Right.
he literally he promotes to no end about how much better he feels. I don't know,
I
but
don't.
Tom, you probably know a lot of that stuff already.
So I'm not really into holistic medicine. I mean, I used to be 200 pounds heavier. I used to be on 300 plus units of insulin every day. I used to still have A1Cs in the 14s. My knees hurt. I had leg ulcers. I was just having all kinds of problems. I was going blind. And I just started eating meat. I mean, I eat 90%. 90% of everything I eat is just meat. Once in a while, I have a piece of sourdough bread that I make myself from wheat that I grow in my own garden, right? Um, but usually, I just eat meat, and I put lots of salt on it, and that's all I really need. And I've gotten healthier, and I feel great. I can go for walks now, and
That, you know,
everything's good
that's a
with my blood work. I still have to take a blood pressure medication because I have pulmonary hypertension from years of smoking. But I've quit smoking now, but the damage is done. And the pulmonary hypertension is what caused me to have the stroke. Um, but all my blood works good. I had a complete CTA scan where they scanned your whole upper abdomen for any type of blockages. I had ultrasounds on my neck, CAT scans on my kidneys, and stress tests and nuclear scans. No blockages. I have no blockages of any kind. They're like, your arteries look like you're a teenager. They're perfectly clean.
I cannot pass a stress test. I've failed the last 2, so
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know the result
today after I
when the
have my
doctor's holding.
stroke, I feel so much better than I ever did before when I was fat and diabetic.
see, I
Like,
think, if I take the advice from all you guys and blend them together to make my own system work for me, uh, I may either you may never hear from me again because my family won't know to get on here to say, "Hey, he passed away last week, guys. Live stream's done. Sorry, he
um,
ate too much meat and too much methylene blue, so he killed him. It killed him, so he ain't gonna be back on no more."
Lean cuts of meat.
But
what
but
you
I
have to do is realize it's not about adding anything. We're so big on if I can buy this, I can fix this problem. If I can get this pill, I'll fix this problem. If this breaks, I can buy this. What you have to do is quit eating junk. Now, you can eat mostly meat. Meat's nice, it's simple, it's good, it's healthy. But you can also have some veggies. You can have some green beans. Just watch your carbohydrates at first because your body has to get used to how to process carbohydrates again because it's so sick from all of the seed oils, all the emulsifiers, all the wood pulp and monosodium glutamates, everything that they're putting in all this prepackaged food.
right, which
I know
RFK is trying to fix.
I don't eat out at McDonald's anymore. I haven't been to a restaurant in years. I don't I make everything I make. I either grow it in my garden, I buy it at the store as meat. 95% of everything at the store is not food. It's amazing. Like I
Oh, I
started out
agree.
and I say, could my great great grandparents have bought this and eaten it? No, then it's a definite no for me. Right? And it's just eating real food is amazing. Like the sourdough bread that I make has flour, salt, water, and yeast. That's it. you know, and you look at the Wonder Bread, and it's got an ingredient list this long with all kinds of chemicals. And these seed oils actually displace the omega 3s. You hear a lot of people say, you need to take fish oil, you need to take this omega 3, that omega 3. It's not that you need more omega 3s. In fact, when you take more omega 3s, there's no more omega 3s showing up in their cells because the seed oils displace the omega 3s. They are the root cause of diabetes, getting the cells to be able to absorb the sugar and the insulin,
Well,
right?
Tom, that's why they call you the frugal prepper, my friend.
Yeah, it took me so long to realize that all I have to do is just eat good food, and I
Well,
get healthier every day.
here's the thing with meat: the prices of meat have gotten so bad. Uh, like we got down to the point to where like even hamburger was too expensive to buy. We buy a lot of chicken, but even chicken went way up in price. It's like, what
Yeah.
meat can I afford to eat anymore? You know
Well,
what I mean? So I buy off brand like the logs of sausage and stuff like that because it's cheaper than hamburger. Uh, we try to buy chicken because it is like the cheapest meat out there. I love, you know, everybody would like to eat a steak, but it's just not my budget. So
yeah.
meat,
So what you'll
not a whole
find
lot of
out with
things
your
I can get
budget
right. Go ahead.
is
Sorry. Okay.
when you start eating meat, when you become a carnivore, you only eat once a day. And the rest of the time you'll look at food and be like, "Ooh, that doesn't even look good. I'm not hungry right now." Right? And you only eat like once a day, maybe twice a day sometimes, and you won't eat nearly as much. You know, you just and it's no big deal. If eating's like a 5 minute thing that you do, and then you're not hungry. In fact, if somebody's
Right.
making, then you might feel hungry.
I eat breakfast and I eat supper. I don't eat. I don't.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Right. And
and it's
here's the
not
thing. Here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to go 100% carnivore.
yeah,
You like myself. I eat high protein, low carb. I'm diabetic. I'm you know I'm 5'6" and I'm 260 pounds. Right. I'm working on it. It's coming down. But I eat high protein, and that means I get my beef. I get the leanest possible beef I can get. I eat a lot of chicken. I eat a lot of fish. Okay, and these things are your high protein, your high value meats. There, your high proteins. Eat eggs. Eggs are high in protein, and they're full of the good cholesterol. Okay, there's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Eggs are full of the good cholesterol.
Yeah,
You eat
eggs
eggs.
is a
Get some
cheap
eggs
thing to get.
in the
So they
morning, scramble
I
them
can
up.
kill all the
You're
chicken.
good. You're good to go. In the evening, have you a hamburger.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and you can
What was
go
that?
on more of like a keto diet than all meat, especially at first. And you're just watching the carbohydrates, but you need to do a clean keto diet. You don't buy something at the store that says it's keto and comes in a box. It's not clean. That's all kinds of additives in it. You just need to
Right.
make your own green beans, right? Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
You look at your ingredients and look at the nutrition.
and so I mean, you said your one medication's costing you $400 every month.
But
Imagine
yeah,
if you
all of them
didn't take
together.
that anymore. You'd have plenty of money for me, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I
two.
used to be on so many pills. I was on 5 of the 500 milligram metformin every day. I was on Humulin U 500 super concentrated insulin, on Novolog. I was on all kinds of blood pressure medication. I was just on everything
The
every day. And now I
the
take one blood pressure. Oh, I take
the
two blood pressure pills.
the two highest priced medications I have, they're both pain pills because I have chronic pain and
Yeah,
I have no meniscus between my knees, and so my thigh bone and my shin bone touch on
yeah.
my left leg, and I'm almost all the way there on my right. Uh, my right ankle they want to fuse. I say no, so it feels like I got a sprung ankle. If I walk on my ankle more than 20 minutes, I feel like I sprung it, so I have to elevate it for 2 days. So yeah, so my
So
the chronic pain is what I want to get rid of, and I don't know if that's possible, since I have stuff that is physically gone in my body
yeah,
that's
it
not
is
there.
actually. So there's a whole big long explanation about the hormones that are in charge of removing insulin through the kidneys are actually the same hormones that rebuild connective tissue. That's their secondary job. So if your sugar is always high, it's always purging that insulin out through the kidneys. It never gets around to rebuilding connective tissue. I was actually in the process before I started keto like 6 years ago of seeing the surgeon getting the scans to get a knee replacement because my knee was gone. I couldn't walk. It just hurt like heck.
Well,
Oh, I
mine
had
mine's
Today
yeah.
actually
it's
there.
fine. It's fine. I can kneel down on my leg, my knees on the concrete.
Well, see,
It doesn't hurt. I can walk 10 miles. It
that's
doesn't hurt.
part of Tom. That's part of the problem. So, because of my other issues, they will not operate on me unless it's life threatening.
Right.
Knee replacement is not life threatening. That's
Well,
why
that was where I was. I had the diabetic leg ulcers that wouldn't heal, and
they
they
pump me
wouldn't do
up.
the knee surgery till they got those leg ulcers healed.
Yeah. So, well, see, I didn't have that, but because of my heart condition,
Yeah.
and I have problems with my digestive system, my stomach, and it just
So
was the thing with the heart. Yeah, I got a leaking valve, they said they can't fix unless it becomes a problem because it leaks into the other arteries. You know, where one runs in, one runs out, right?
Hmm.
So between the two, I have it's leaks. So it
Hmm.
leaks into the other one and causes turbulence.
Okay.
Well, it'll I can just be completely out of breath for no reason for a second.
Hmm.
You know, they tell me it's because it's interrupting my blood flow because of the turbulence. So you know, they say uh, if I get put under, that they may not be able to bring me back for
Yeah.
whatever reason because I have a couple other issues. I don't like, but I don't. I have a grocery list of stuff I'm not even going to get into. But anyways, so they won't do stuff like the knee surgery because they say it's not life threatening. So they tell me I'm going to be on pain meds all my life, and that's only two of the things I take. I say I have 9 different prescriptions. I have the hypertension, high blood pressure. You know, I have a swelling problem. My body swells. I have degenerative arthritis, so around all my joints, it swells real bad when they get aggravated. So literally, some days I can't even bend my legs or move my ankles around like this because of the
Yeah.
swelling. And so all I can do is lay in bed and elevate these things. You get tired of laying in bed, so you force yourself to get up out of bed and do things, and then I
Yeah.
pay the price. So how do you fix that? The only way you can fix that is you take medication that doesn't do away with the problem, but allows you to work through the problem. And that's the only way
But
I can explain it. So
every
And
one of
that's
those problems I you just described, every single one of them, I've heard from hundreds and thousands of people who switched to a carnivore diet and they've healed every one of those problems.
I tell you, if that could heal my joints,
yeah.
I, I
I've
can I
heard
can live
many
with the pain.
doctors.
I can live with the chronic pain if I could literally use my knees and my ankles and my shoulders the way they're intended to be used. I could
Yeah.
care about the pain, but they freeze up. They literally lock up.
Uh-huh.
Their swellings around them so bad it don't give them any room to move.
Yeah.
And then I have like big tumors. I call them tumors. They call them something else that is on swelling on my legs,
Yeah.
and they're like knots, and to touch them is like getting hit with a blowtorch.
Yeah.
So it's very uncomfortable when they're aggravated, and they get aggravated when my leg swells up
Yeah.
to walk because my leg will rub the other side of it with that spot on my leg, and it literally, I'm serious. It's like you've ever been burnt by a torch, 1200 degrees. You ever had it come across your skin at all, and it just literally takes the skin off. That's what it feels like when I get hit in those
Wow.
spots on my leg. So I tell you, to be able to kneel down on my knee again would be awesome. I missed it because
Yeah.
I used to be in martial arts. I used to be a brown belt, which
Okay.
was one belt away from black. So I'm 5'4" and I could kick a 6'2" person in the nose because I was that flexible.
Yeah.
And they used to call me the enforcer at school because we were full contact. I could break through 4 center blocks that were 2 3/8 inches thick, each one of them. And I've seen people shatter their wrists trying to do the same thing. Now, saying that, my instructor could go through 13, which I never got to. It was hard enough on me to go through 4, but that's another story. But anyways, I missed those days to where I could do the split and I could, throw a roundhouse kick. And I can't even, like I said,
And you might not.
I cannot even kneel down on my knee, putting pressure on my kneecap
Yeah.
because there's nothing behind it. And
It
my
hurts.
kneecap moves now
Oh.
and gets caught underneath the top part of my shin bone. And when that happens, it just happens just for no reason, just be walking. It
Yeah.
just it just moved the wrong way or whatever, and it gets caught underneath there. And I feel like I'm almost gonna cry like a little kid trying to walk until it moves again. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I
I,
used to have stomach problems too.
I feel you, man. Yeah,
Just down and discovered that I had some burning on my esophagus, and I always had heartburn. I went through a big bottle of Tums every day or every month on my desk at work, and they put me on this Ameriprazole stuff, and I don't have any problems anymore. I haven't had a Tum in 5 years. It just doesn't happen.
Well,
It's amazing.
I used to do number two. I used to bleed. Matter of
Okay.
fact, I bled for 9 months, and they were trying to figure out what's wrong with me. Right? I done all these tests, colonoscopies. I've had to turn in stool samples time and time again. I mean, I did upper GIs, lower GIs, two colonoscopies, all kinds of dumb shit. It come to find out, I had ulcers in my stomach, and they were big ulcers, and it was right around where my upper intestine, attaches to your stomach. So they had to go. I'm cut from chest bone to belly button. They had to go in and remove a third of my stomach and 8 inches of my intestine, and then reattach it to another part of my stomach because they said where it was attached was so far gone that they couldn't fix it. And then
Wow.
they removed my gallbladder at the same time. So that happened back in 2002.
Yeah.
Uh, so from that point on, slowly but surely, my health started getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, and so like I had my gallbladder taken out because I had gallstones and it caused severe pancreatitis, put me in the ICU for like a week. Uh, but um, I'll say like I eat a lot of fat. They always tell you like you can't eat much fat when you don't have a gallbladder. You eventually adjust to where I can just sit down and eat a stick of butter with my steak,
Yeah,
right?
I don't have any problems eating with no gallbladder.
Okay, so if you do, the what I used to do in the early days was take ox bile like an hour after I ate, and that would help break it up and get the fat moving through. Because you can get kind of that queasy, I ate too much grease feeling. Yeah,
Can
but
you eat too much grease?
yeah, you can. But
I
another
tell
thing,
everybody, you're not got nothing to do with grease. I tell
Depends
everybody,
on where you're
everything's better with gravy on it. I don't care what it is. If there's some kind of gravy, white gravy, turkey gravy, whatever, brown gravy, it doesn't matter. It's all better with gravy on
but yeah, I ferment my own
I hear you. I hear you.
radishes. I ferment my own yogurt. That's really helped like things just get going in my digestive tract. Like eating live fermented yogurt and fermented veggies is just amazing. And it's so easy. You just chop it up, put it in a jar with some salt and water, and let it sit out for a couple weeks, and it's fermented.
See, a
Yeah,
lot of people though don't go to the extremes you go to, Tom, because you're smarter than most. I know that by talking to you a few times already. I mean, I've watched a ton of your videos, and I know you're smart, and I know you think outside the box to where most of us still think we need to go to the grocery store for everything. Because
yeah,
I don't have a place to grow a lot of crops, so I couldn't grow anything. It's because I live in town, and I
yeah.
Well, I
know
mean,
you probably live in town too, but you probably got a used backyard, don't you, Tom?
It's not real big. I use the Mittlighter gardening system, so I grow in 3 grow beds, and
See,
then
there
we
you go.
add the perfect nutrients weekly. We add the 12 nutrients that all plants need, and we add that and we plant close together. So we have really big yields. I mean, most people grow pepper plants. I grow pepper trees that are taller than me. You know,
Yeah, but see, you know what I mean. A lot of Americans they they either choose not to or they don't have the. I guess I'm
Uh,
gonna call brain power. Don't mean they're dumb. That's just something they don't think about because of modern living. You
right,
think
but
you think outside the box. That's why you're living
that's
a
true.
healthier life because you're living in the time before all this stuff, before grocery stores were on every corner, and you know what I
So
mean.
I don't have a TV. You know, I don't sit on the couch and eat a bag of potato chips and watch TV. I'm always out doing things. Like I couldn't imagine just sitting down watching TV. I'd be bored. You know, that's just like
Tom, I spent a lot of time in bed, my friend. I spent a lot of
yeah,
time in bed, and I watch. You see what's behind me?
yeah.
This is my bedroom I'm in. This is my
Okay,
TV in my bedroom
yeah,
because I spend so much
yeah. I was
time
gonna
in
say that's
here.
the Stevie behind him.
I do my live stream in my bedroom because I spend so much time in this room because of my health. That this is my home. My bedroom is my home. You know what I mean? I eat here. I sleep and lay here a lot of times because I don't feel like getting up because my legs are being swollen or whatever. So what do? This is how I got on YouTube. I didn't know anything about YouTube, didn't know anything about doing the internet thing. My girlfriend suggested, "Well, you like car stuff. I'm sure you'll find something with cars on YouTube." So I started watching YouTube. I got a smart TV. It was a Christmas present, 65-inch. Not that
Yeah.
that's big in today's world, but it was for me when we got it. So she had internet on it, so she put all this stuff on here for me because I didn't know. Put the YouTube on there for me. I got Rumble on my big screen TV now, everything. But anyways, I started watching these, and she said, "You know, you do have good and bad days. Why don't you take the good days and go out in the garage and film it and make your own YouTube channel? It'll give you something to look forward to." Because I was really depressed, big time.
Yeah.
So I was like, I could probably do that, a couple times, a couple days a month or whatever. So I started doing that. So my videos are like a month or two apart on my car stuff because of my physical condition. But I started getting subscribers, and I got excited because I thought people want to see what I want to do. As amateurish as my videos are and were way back then, they were completely amateurish. I used it's funny. I have a big video camera. I'm talking about the big ones, not
Yeah.
these. I didn't use my phone because I didn't have a smartphone. I didn't have any of that back then. Didn't have a camera on my phone. I had a flip phone. So, and we're only talking 4 years ago, people. This ain't like 10 years ago. I'm talking 4 years ago. I had a flip phone. So I got this camera, and it took the memory card. So, and I was able to take, and then she had a laptop. I didn't have a laptop. So I was able to take this memory card and put it into the laptop, and I was able to post these videos. They're posted unedited. Whatever I say, if I say it wrong, if I do something stupid in like my first 20 videos or whatever, it's because I didn't know how to edit. It was raw from beginning to end. So, but anyways, that's how I started that to get over my depression. So, TV may not be your friend, but it has become my friend because
Yeah.
it has got me here in front of
Right.
everybody that watches my stuff now. Because now I feel like even when I'm not physically capable of going in the garage, I'm physically capable of sitting in a chair in front of a laptop and
Oh yeah.
talk shit. Talk what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. And I'm on a office chair. Can you see this, Big Tony? I'm on an actual office chair that swivels and everything instead of my little wooden chair that used to fry my ass.
Amazing. You replaced the wooden chair.
And this was free. I have an actual office chair, desk chair that's free. I got it for free. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here as long as we've been. Because remember, I
Awesome.
tell you, like about an hour and 20
Now
minutes
you
into my live stream, I said, "Look, I could go further and longer, but my ass is getting sore right now. I got to get the hell up off this chair. Good night, everybody. Talk to you next time." That's how it was. But I got this chair, and my ass still don't hurt right now. We've been doing
Yep.
this 2 hours and 53 minutes, and my ass still ain't hurting. I tell you, man, technology can be a wonderful thing, Tom.
Yeah.
Now you're still playing those Atari games on old tube TVs, right? Because I've seen your videos where you
I have a
repaired those.
couple old Nintendos. Yeah.
Yeah, you repaired the old TVs and stuff and played the Nintendo games.
Yeah. We went and picked up my son's CRT television to hook the Super NES to, and it was like some big 47-inch CRT television. It took both of us to lift it. It wouldn't
Right.
it wouldn't close. We had to tie it in there. Then we had to figure out how to get it in the
Weighed
house.
about 2 tons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
see,
the thing works good.
through life, as my kids were growing up, I was always they grew up a lot better than I did. I grew up super poor, and I did not want them to grow up that way. I grew up without a dad. There's no way I was gonna, no matter how much me and my wife didn't get along. No, dad's at home. Dad's gonna be here. But I always wanted them to not have to come home and tell me about what some other kid's parents bought that they didn't have. You know what I mean? I know that sounds stupid and kind of like shallow, But it seems like I would always buy the newest thing, like the VCR. When the VCR was like $500, I had one in my house. My kids had a VCR. When satellite come out, when it was the big huge dish that you had the controller inside, and you move the dish outside to get the satellite TV, had one in my house. My kids grew up with that. So everything I've ever had, it's like the first big screen TV I bought was the tube type TV. You talk about heavy. Oh, and what's funny is it finally went out, and I tell you how long I had it. I bought it in 1991, and it was a 32 inch, and that was big at the time.
Oh yeah.
And I kept it all the way up to about almost, I don't know, 6 years ago, maybe, when it finally went out. Now think about that, 91 till 6 years ago. And every time I'd move somewhere, like my girlfriend, and why do you keep this thing? This thing is so fucking heavy. Why do you keep this thing? And look, it still works. It's like I still had the flip phone when everybody else
Right.
had these smartphones. Why don't you get rid of that and get a touchscreen phone? Blah, 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 because this one still works. I had that phone 15 years. You know what I mean? The smartphones, people are changing every year or two. I had the same phone for 15 years. So I'm
Yeah.
not a high tech individual. You know what I mean? I don't like new technology, but I understand why people do. I like a lot of it, but I don't understand most of it.
Yeah.
So I am an idiot when it comes to tech stuff. That's why my live streams are so poorly done. Like bringing my videos up are so poorly done, because my first live streams, it was just me talking, because I didn't know how to do anything else. I didn't know how to bring up a live stream. I didn't know how to add on to a guest. I didn't know how to do none of that. I knew how to turn it on and press live.
Yeah.
That's it. But now I can even edit videos. I have an editor now. I do a video editor. I can edit my videos and add music and add talkovers. I couldn't do none of that, back on my car channel.
Yeah.
Now I can.
Yeah.
And it's done through persistence and people telling me, I know you're not stupid. You need to fucking do it. Quit putting it off. Do it. Ask somebody. That's your problem. You don't ever ask nobody. You think you know everything. Ask somebody. You're not stupid. Ask somebody. Somebody knows. I was like, yeah, but God damn it, no. Somebody knows. You don't know. You ain't figured it out. Ask somebody. That's what my brother used to tell me all the time. Now he's like my biggest critic. He'll be like, your sound on your live stream sucks tonight, or you need to move your mic away from your face, because all you're seeing is your glasses and your hat. Everything's under your mic. He's giving me critic all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
I like, shut up, bitch, and come on here and talk. Otherwise, don't tell me how I'm doing my live stream bad. Guys saying that my ass may not be sore, but y'all's might be.
Yeah, I gotta get some sleep. I gotta go to work and drive to Mansfield, Ohio tomorrow. So
I'm
gonna
a
get that.
Tom, I'd like to apologize for having you on here so late, but I'm glad you came on, and I hope you keep coming back, because we're Springfielders, and I talk about the Haitians almost every live stream I do now, because people want to know. So it's nice to have a perspective of somebody other than just me, because I'm kind of hardcore radical. You're probably more even killed with the situation. You know what I mean? And I'm like, get rid of every one of them motherfuckers. And I didn't used to be that way, but all the interactions I've had with them has really pissed me off. So I used to be, I know they're getting exploited by George Tenet and them, and I still feel that way. They are. But they also are fucking up a lot of people who live here of getting jobs, because those temp services won't hire locals, because they hire all Haitians, because they can control them more. So
And
yeah,
I
I have a problem with that. So I hope, Tom, we can do this again. Matter of fact, I like, you know who Mark Sanders is, right? I've been talking to him about doing a once a month Springfield roundtable, and of course, he's a busy guy. He's part of a NASCAR team. He drives a school bus, even though he's retired from Honda. He's heavy into the local politics and all. He's a busy guy, but he's even shown me good interest that he'd like to do it once a month, do a round table of Springfielders. So and I'd like for you to come on anytime you want, Tom. But I just mentioned that in case you want to get involved in that too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because you probably have a more, uh, like I said, a more even tempered position on the subject because they're hardcore because they are stop the influx. You know that Tom Sanders or
yeah,
Mark Sanders and them. They are stop the influx. That's where I get a lot of my stuff from because that is what they do. They started that Facebook page, so
yeah.
they want them out of here fast, and I
Yeah, I mean,
understand
the
it.
ones who live beside me are pretty nice people. Like they have kids that they get off the school bus and give hugs to, and they play in the front yard.
But
They
it's not
seem
a
like
bunkhouse, is it?
no, but there's quite a few of them living over there. There's like 8 or 9, I think.
Oh damn.
Um, but they bought the house. Um,
Well, if they bought it, they can do
but
what they want.
yeah, and I mean, I
But you
don't
know,
really have
George.
any problems with them, but when I come to a green light in Springfield, it doesn't mean go. It means proceed with extreme caution after you've looked at all the cars to make sure they're not driving. You know?
Oh yeah, I show accidents on here that happen here daily. I've never seen so many rollover accidents ever in the history of my driving that I've
Oh yeah,
had in the last 3 years, because it seems like 50% of every accident in
We have to look
Springfield,
at traffic in Haiti.
a vehicle's rolled over on its top. It makes
yeah.
no sense to me how they do that constantly, or they completely run straight into a building through brick wall, glass, and all, straight into a building and
And
don't
don't
even
even
look like
hit
they
the
hit their
brakes.
brakes.
Yeah, it's like
I've never seen so much of that, but it's here.
crazy.
And contrary to what Governor DeWine has said, things are not back to normal in Springfield, Ohio. It is just as bad as it's ever been because a lot of the people who may not been good but good have self-deported to other states. There are
Like
a
when
lot
I
of people. A lot of people who are working through the temp services are still here, but then the rest of it is all the bad element, the Haitian gang influence. It's horrible. Murder is on the rise. I'll show that on my next live stream. Uh, murder has, it's like the reporting of violent crime, not the conviction of violent crime, because they won't convict in this town, but the reporting of violent crime in the last 2 years has went up 337%, but
wow,
the convictions have went down. Figure that one out.
yeah,
So saying that, guys, thanks for coming on, Tom. Big Tony, appreciate it. I'm sorry I didn't know
Anytime, man. Anytime.
I did my movie today a little late. I did not want to like go over top. I try my best not to go over top anybody. Like when Killer Carl comes on at 8 o'clock, I try not to be on at 8 o'clock when he's gonna live stream. If he's not live streaming, it don't really matter. Uh, the other day when I live streamed, I did not realize in that what time it was. I just something popped up on my news feed, and I wanted to talk about it, so I jumped on and went live. I'm gonna have a conscious effort of not doing that because I don't believe in being live the same time somebody else I'm supporting is. I'll just do mine another time because to me it's not that important. You have a set time. Carl has a set time, and I don't, except for Sunday night.
Right, right,
That's my only set time,
right.
and
Yeah.
that's
I
7 o'clock.
don't. I mean, I don't really. I don't. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really have an issue personally with it. With you going on at the same time as me or whatever. You know, but I have been some of the people that we share as
Right.
viewers
I don't want them to
have
have to choose who to
come on there.
watch.
And why is he? Yeah, well, they're saying, why is he going on at the same time as you? I don't know. I guess that's the time that he wanted to go on.
Well, you
I
know it
mean,
don't happen very
and
often.
then
I
tonight,
usually don't go on at 6. It's not something I
right,
normally do. So,
right. Yeah, that's why they're mentioning it is because it's unusual. But tonight, Papa Bones came in my chat, and he says, "Hey, send James a link. Have him come on the show because he's on at the same time as you." So I just right away sent you a link. I didn't know
yeah, if
you were
I'd have
doing your
seen it,
movie tonight. So
I didn't see it because while I'm live streaming, my phone is on my live stream because the chat don't work right. So I do it. So I didn't see
Right.
your text or
Yeah.
your email. So and then like same thing with me and Tom. Uh, by the time I see something, it's usually after the fact. It's like, oh well, I didn't. Why didn't
Yeah.
I go and see that? It because you sent me an email, Tom, on my last one, uh, about 15 minutes before I went live. So I was actually putting my notes together, and I didn't look at my email. Otherwise, I would have looked at it and I would have flipped you a link real quick. Uh, but text message is the best way for me, guys, because it'll pop up on my screen even while I'm live streaming. So if
Okay.
you're like seeing that I'm on and you want to jump on and you can text message me, and if I'm looking down at my phone, I'll see it pop up and then I'll jump over to my email and throw you a link real quick. And that I can't do it through text like Carl can. I still have to use email. I tried doing it through text and it just doesn't work out right. Because I don't do it on my phone. Carl does it on his
Yeah. I
phone.
have. Well, I have I live stream, and right now I'm on my laptop,
Yeah, I'm on
right?
my laptop.
But he can shoot me a text on my phone, and I have a program called Link to Windows. It links my phone up to Windows on my computer. I can access my phone through my computer, and he texts me the link, and I just switch it over to my computer and go right on.
I have that ability,
I
but here's
can't
the
do that
thing.
unless I use my MacBook because I got an iPhone.
Well, here's the thing.
Apple
Mine will
product.
pop up in the
Oh,
corner.
well,
Don't
I
have a link to Microsoft Windows for the iPhone.
I shut mine off because I get
no,
tired of it because I get so many emails because I got 4 email addresses, right? So
Yeah.
that pops up in the corner all the time, all the time.
that's all.
Everything something pops
Oh,
up, something pops up. So I uh unlinked them so that don't pop up on my screen
no,
anymore. That's what
yeah,
I'm saying. I don't see it on my screen up here, but I do have my phone in front of me when I'm live streaming. So
Yeah.
if I'm cause I tried because
right.
I can't I'm so far away from the laptop I can't read the chat even with my glasses. You'll see me sometimes go like this. I know you see me do it, Tony. It's because
Mhm.
I'm something may
Yep.
be wrong with the chat and I have to read both because I'm getting one channel over here and another channel over here, and I'm trying to read my computer. But I can look straight down and read it straight up. But
Yeah.
that's why I use my phone for that. But anyways, I, I'm
Right.
still technology handicapped. I'm my shit is as juvenile or raw as you get. But guys, saying that, thanks for
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
on.
Well,
To tell you with the people that are still in the chat room because we've been in here a long time. If you want to shoot your channels into the chat with a link,
sure.
Big Tony knows what I'm
Yeah, you
talking
can
about. Tom, you can do that too if you want.
Yeah. Let me
If
see.
you're logged on,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
just
you
put
can
your channels in there.
find me right here on Rumble. Um, yeah, yeah, you can find me right here on Rumble at Big Tony Speaks. I put it in the chat. If y'all click on the green letters on there, it says Big Tony Speaks. It'll take you straight to my channel. Also, I'm on all social media as Big Tony Speaks. You just search Big Tony Speaks and you'll find me. Facebook, Instagram, you name it, TikTok. I've got 4 channels over there.
Hey,
I got 3 channels on or 3 pages on Facebook. I got 4 on Instagram. So you should be able to find me. But I prefer you follow me right here on Rumble and come over, watch the show, get in the chat, talk to me. And if you're watching on replay, uh, hit me a comment down below. I read all my comments and my chat. Yeah, y'all have a great one. And when you come see me, Big Tony will speak on that.
hey, Tom, you probably did that through my studio link because that only goes to I think just me and Tony can see it.
Oh, okay.
You have to do it on regular social media if you would like watching.
Yeah,
Just
it's
get on the YouTube channel into the live stream, Jimmy Pockets, and everybody will be able to see
yeah,
it.
just
But while he's doing that,
right.
of course, my name's James. This is the Empty Pockets podcast on Rumble, Jimmy Pockets on YouTube, I suggest on YouTube, if you want to get more of the real stories, you need to come to Rumble. I don't know how much I can stress that. If you want 100% the truth without being stifled by the YouTube overlords, you need to come to Rumble and start following not only us, but the people we inspire to be with or be. I don't know. I probably didn't say it right because I would like to be like Killer Carl. Killer Carl puts the work in. The man has a full-time job, full-time live streams, and he's on a radio station, and he fills in as a full-time, uh, I guess, host uh, every now and then, at least once a month on a Thursday, and he's part of the radio station every week. So he does all that, and that's who I aspire to be like. But I don't know if I got that kind of energy.
I aspire to have that kind of following.
Well, you have to put in that kind of work, and you do it because you live stream every day, Monday through Friday, right? And you have a set time, which is good because I don't.
Yes, sir. Monday through Friday, 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Right? See, I don't because I don't know.
Yes, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m.
I tell you why. I give you a little quick backstory before we get off here of why I don't. Because sometimes, my chronic pain will keep me up all night when I should be sleeping. And then a lot of times, like when I'm on Ken's Coffee Talk at 6:30 in the morning, it's because I hadn't been to bed yet because my body won't let me sleep.
Right.
And then when I do fall asleep, all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I should have live streamed because I like live streaming around 8:30, 9 o'clock if I can. But a lot of times I can't because when I get off Ken's Coffee Talk, my body, for whatever reason, when the sun comes up, say, we've punished you enough. It's time to go to sleep. And I hate that because I don't like sleeping a day away. I like to try to do something. You know what I mean? I like to be productive because, when you're up all night long, I could live stream. When I first started this on YouTube, I live stream at 2 a.m. in the morning because I was up.
Right.
But most of my people who come on the live stream was from across the ocean. It was hardly any Americans because nobody was up. So it was a bunch of people from foreign countries. And I wouldn't say a bunch of people. I think the best, when I was doing it at 2 a.m., I think the most I ever had on here was 15. Not like it is now where sometimes it's 35, 40, 100. I knew tonight would not be very well received because of the day. It's a holiday. It's late. Nobody ever expects me to live stream this late. But after I got done communicating with you, it's like, well, shit, I'm got a live stream tonight. Fuck it. It's Memorial Day. Let's do something special for Memorial Day. And I was like, God damn it,
Why
I
not?
didn't get on yours. Maybe you'll get on mine. You figure it out, Tom?
Hey, I'll come on anytime.
That's cool. Yeah. This is what I say. This is why I don't like being on the same time somebody else that I support on, because we do have a lot of the same followers, and because they follow us because Carl. A lot of my followers are because of Carl and Ken's Coffee Talk. I got a lot from her. It's not that I have a ton of people on Rumble, because Rumble is so funny because when people say, well, I got 500 followers on Rumble, that's a lot of people. If you got 500 people following you on Rumble, you got a large following. Unlike Carl, who has 36,000 now or something, he has more than Dana Bash. You know that?
Something like that. Yeah, it's in the tens of thousands.
I mean, Dana Bash, the hot bitch that she is, and the political, dynamite person that she is, he has more followers. It's funny.
Right.
But anyways,
Right.
I have less than 150. I think yesterday, or it's like 141 yesterday or something. But I haven't gotten any new followers in 2 weeks. I don't know what it is the last 2 weeks.
Right. I haven't either. I'm at 129. So, we're right there together in numbers, but I haven't gotten any new followers in the past couple of weeks either.
But saying that, a lot of the same people that follow you follow me. And I don't believe in stepping over somebody else's. I don't believe in especially when you have a set time. there's no reason, and I guess I just didn't pay attention to the clock. I swear that's what it was. There's no reason for me to be on at 6 when I know you're on at 6. That just seems silly. Uh, and same thing with Carl. I don't go on at 8 o'clock when I know Carl's live streaming. Oh, we lost Tom. He might come back.
Looks like it.
We've been on here a long time, but yeah. So
Yeah,
the time I know, I try to make a conscious effort not to do that, and I will not do that because it ain't needed. If I want to set time, there's plenty other times in the 24-hour period that I can set a time to live stream. Just like Kim in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. It don't matter if I'm up at 6:30 every morning. I would never live stream in the morning,
right.
and not. I mean, she has a lot of followers, but it's like I don't know if you ever been on it, if you ever been in any of her live streams, but they're funny, and she does a real good job at it, and she
No, I
usually
haven't.
has
I haven't.
she usually has like between 120 to 180 people in her live stream, and so when you're in there in their chat room, she got to noticing that
Right.
I had a lot of things to say that she kind of agreed with, and I knew stuff that she didn't know because I dig a little deeper in it than she did. But
Right.
it take me so long to type it that one morning she like empty pockets. I think I've seen you on Killer Carl's live streams. Let me send me a email and I'll send you a link. And I didn't do it that morning, right? But I was typing so slow that she got onto another subject, and I'm still typing about the last subject because it takes me so long to type. So she literally got a hold of Carl and got my email address from Carl. And one day I got an email from this person. I did, who that Kim's call? Oh shit, that's that live stream I was on the other morning because Carl told me to go and check her out. And then from that point on, at least once every other week, I'm on her live stream in the morning. So she constantly
Right.
she'll send me an email and say, "Hey, you want to come on one time this week and send me the subject you want to talk about because I want to be able to talk about it with you because you talk about subjects I don't talk about because I do a deeper dive than she does, but she's always interested in what I have to say.
Right.
So she's a very good person. So if you're
Yeah.
ever up that early, check her out.
Okay.
He's
Yeah,
probably
most
done for the
definitely.
night. All right, so he's probably not coming back.
Right.
Big Tony, thanks for coming in, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Anytime.
You know, I appreciate everybody that tunes into these live streams because I am a fucking idiot. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but you still come back to listen to me. So saying that, what's that saying about you? Huh? Good people. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
So with Big Tony and I'm James, this is Empty Pockets Podcast. Till next time, guys. We're out of here. Later, Tony.
Have a great one, man.